Okay, so we have gathered once again to talk about research methodology, but in this case, we are completely using English language. I do hope that our English language will be good enough because you know fairly correctly that once you stay longer in Thailand, uh, most of us, our English is affected. But then we will keep on moving on. So, writing a research article, advice, this is just the beginning. A good research paper addresses a specific research question. A good research paper addresses a specific research question. I don't know if you have any answer to this. Do you understand it clearly? A
Yes.
good research paper addresses a specific research question.
Yes, which that means there's always a question that you ask for every research.
Uh-huh.
So that means every good research must have a good research question to enable um, the the researcher to attend to its height, right?
Mm-hmm. Henry, do you have anything to add to it? A good research paper addresses a specific research question.
When you said a good research addresses a specific research question, it simply throw more light like actually the objective of this research is what's going to answer that research question.
What does that mean then?
Because for you to start a research, there must be a purpose and an objective. And inside the purpose and objective, we draw a question which the purpose of this your research is going to answer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Can you give example?
Okay, for instance, if you say the roles of traditional rulers,
You can use your own paper to give an example so that it will be very easy for you as well.
for instance, when you ask, when you are writing a research based on like a topic like the roles of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So under this your paper, there are some objectives and there are also some questions, research question towards the topic.
Like what? I don't
So
want to
inside
be
this
too
topic,
theoretical. I just want you to make it practical
so
to
inside
the
this,
understanding of the beginner.
okay, inside this topic that I've mentioned, a particular question that can come out from there is how can the traditional rulers help to fight insecurity? Or another question can be that what are the purpose or what are the roles of traditional rulers in a community?
Uh-huh.
So when you now list out the roles of a traditional ruler in a community, then you now try to link it towards fighting insecurity or disputes in that community also. So from that topic, I mentioned the role of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in their community. From their roles they play, you can influence it towards the role they can also play in fighting insecurity and conflict.
A good research paper addresses a specific research question. First of all, your topic, for example, what is your guessing topic?
The role of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity.
Okay, the role of traditional rulers
Yes,
in fighting insecurity. In where?
Southeast Nigeria.
In Southeast Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay, then, which means ever before you pick the topic, something was troubling you.
Yes.
That's the implication.
Which is insecurity.
There is a wonder. You were just thinking, you were asking questions. Why are there insecurity in the southeast eastern part of Nigeria? Then again, and you were thinking in your mind that probably not the armies, not the police, but the traditional rulers who directly get involved with the people at the grassroots, right?
Yes.
Even when, well, if you like, call it unknown government, they are human beings. They are coming from that particular region or community. So if the traditional rulers, since they are directly getting involved with the parents and with the people, probably you are thinking that their role might help in solving the problem in the southeast. Is it
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Okay, so which means a good research paper addresses a specific research question. So your specific research question in this case is what?
So my specific research question here will now be fighting insecurity in southeast region of Nigeria.
Fighting insecurity in southeast region of Nigeria.
Yes.
Let's hope that is one of your questions. But
Yeah,
the
that's
point,
one
but
of
the
my
topic
question.
has, you mentioned a particular actor.
Yes,
that will
traditional
enable-
the roles of
Uh-huh.
traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in southeast region of
Okay,
Nigeria.
so how can the traditional rulers in Igbo land help to fight insecurity in southeast? You see that? So that is a good research paper addresses a specific research question. So let me get to you again, Chika. What is your own topic, and then how can you defend this?
Okay, my topic is exploring the role of diplomacy in transitioning from anti-government protest to reforms in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes. So now, before I start talking about it, recently there have been some protest that has been going on in my country, Nigeria. Okay. And I keep asking myself some question. Why is it that how can we use diplomacy to facilitate a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in our country? How can we use diplomacy to shape it? Okay, so
What the role of diplomacy in fighting?
the role of diplomacy in transitioning, moving from anti-government protest to reform in Nigeria.
If you see when the research question becomes difficult to immediately ask, then there is a shaky aspect of the topic. So that's another secret you have to get. Once the research question, that of course that's my own opinion, that's my own experience. Yeah. Once you are research question, just as you are asked a research question and you are battling in getting that particular research question, then you may have to readjust your topic so that you'll be able to easily align it with research question that will be very simple for you.
No, the research question, I'm trying to balance it so that you'll understand the question properly.
but
The
you're
question
supposed-
exactly
But you're
is
supposed
just
to balance it immediately because once it's becoming difficult.
how can diplomacy facilitate a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria? How?
How can?
Yes.
But this is, anyway, it's a question, but just be aware that I'm not intending to let you change the topic, but just be aware that the question will just go straight and be very simple and very easy to ask. So if it is very simple and easy to ask, then your topic is a kind of topic that will be very easy for you to write. But once the question is fighting, struggling to get adjusted grammatically or whichever way, then it's a sign that your topic is big. Maybe you need to remove some kind of phrases to get it to where you want it to be. Because all your emotion or your attention must not be expressed in the topic. You should be seen when you are arguing it. in the body.
In the body.
Yeah, but the topic will go straight to highlight something so that the objectives and the questions will be very easy. Okay, now, the good research paper addresses a specific research question. The research question or study objective or main research hypothesis is the central organizing principle of the paper. You see what I'm saying? Get it again. The research question or study objective or main research hypothesis is the central organizing principle of the paper. Hello? So if you are asking the question and you're finding it difficult to ask the question, then try to organize, rephrase the topic. Then if you're finding it very difficult to itemize your objectives, then look into your topic again. Henry, what do you think? Is organizing the central organizing principle of the paper. As I said, you may be emotional, you wanted to examine a particular thing, you wanted to investigate a particular thing, you are passionate about it. Of course, you are being passionate is the key, because if you're not passionate, you will not be able to write what you want to write.
Yes.
But then, you have to also have to make sure that your steps, the processes are so simple for you in order to attend to your intention. So the topic should be so simple as much as possible so that the objectives and the questions will be very easy for you. Any comment, Henry?
No comment, because if the topic is well arranged, linking to your objective and based on the research, it will be easier for you to finish up whatever you're writing or researching on so quickly. But when the topic is like a little bit complex and confusing, it might actually tend to deviate from your objective of the paper and the question you're asking not linking up together.
So, Sheikha, any comment?
So the topic have to align with the research question and also the objective.
Exactly. Look at how you put it. The research question or study objective or main research hypothesis is the central organizing principle of the paper. So, Sheikha, what does that tell you?
Well, it simply means that the research question and the objective are the main thing that will put you in line while writing your research.
Yes, because remember, look at the very nice topic you mentioned now.
Yes.
Something prompted you, right?
Of course.
Something motivated you, something pushed you.
Yes.
You were somewhere reflecting and thinking, asking questions as human being, as a critical person. So that is the research question. Some people will start with the question first before topic. Some people will create the topic and then create the question or objective. So now let's go further. He said, whatever relates to the research question belongs in the paper. The rest doesn't. Whatever relates to the research question belongs in the paper. The rest doesn't. This is perhaps obvious when the paper reports on a well-planned research objective. So in other words, let's get back to you again. Your topic and your research question. Your topic and your research question. Because these are the things we are going to be talking about. That is why we are here. We have no other reason to be here. This is your independent studies. So, get back to your own again. So that you just understand it. Once you leave here today, you get it once and for all. As you are moving around, instead of chatting on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever, be asking yourself about 3 questions relating to your topic. Then those 3 questions must, most of the time, depending on your approach, will be also objective. I don't know if you are getting the point. Those three questions, one will be in form of question. The other one will be in form of what? Phrasal objective. Then your paper is finished. You have finished writing your paper. Once you're able to get a very clear research question, of course, the same research question is turned to be are turned to be objective as well. Then your paper is already finished. Very easy for you to get a literature review for that. Very easy for you to look for books. Very easy for you to get journals. And very easy for you to actually articulate your thoughts and your movements in the process of writing. So, Henry, do you disagree with me? Or do you have another?
I agree with
something
you.
to say?
I agree with you. That's the main.
I want Prof to analyze. Can I speak? Okay, sir. I want you to analyze this. You know, we are like kind of looking at that. My research question is a bit complex now, right? Now let's get to the objective aspect of it and try to link it with the question. Okay. I don't know if you can turn it off. Okay. Now, analyze role of diplomacy in facilitating a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria. This is the objective. Now, the question is how
No, the objective to analyze.
analyze.
You start with a verb. What?
No, I say not to. It's analyze.
That's what I'm saying. If it's a research, he said the best way to put it is to analyze.
Okay,
blah, blah, blah,
okay, I'll have to start to analyze.
you have to
okay.
put to
Okay.
to
okay.
demonstrate, to
Okay.
show, to analyze.
Okay.
Because it's still a project in process.
Yes.
So somebody that reads it will be able to understand the fact what you're about to do.
Okay.
So this paper is to show. This paper is to demonstrate. This paper is to analyze. This paper is to showcase, and so on and so forth, depending on how you put it.
Okay, I will correct it.
Verb to be.
To analyze role of diplomacy in facilitating a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria. And the question is, how can diplomacy...
Then hold it there. Why not this question be two objectives? Do you have another objective? Otherwise,
Yeah, I have another objective.
okay, because the more you bring in, the more you get yourself frustrated.
I have another objective.
Yeah. Don't be so fast to bring more, because when you look at your topic, then you streamline your objective to be very simple. For example, I am not here with your paper. I don't know if
Okay, maybe let me forward to you.
No, because I wouldn't have access. Is it printed out?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
because what I'm trying to say, read it again. Let me get to what I've...
Okay, the objective, right?
Read what you just read before.
You corrected me on that. I wrote only analyze, but now
to
to analyze role of diplomacy in facilitating a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria.
Yeah, but then if you put it analyze,
To analyze role of diplomacy.
What if you put it analyze role of diplomacy? Then you can easily get other phrasal part of other thing that I didn't mention here because I'm not here with it. Why not? Because the point is that it has to be very simple and clear so that it will be easy for you. So that you now shift what is remaining in another second objective. I am not with your paper, but I just want to make it easy for you so that it not get stuck. Because the more you put put a lot of information in one objective, the more you must defend them. I don't know if you're getting it.
Yes, I understand. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
yes,
because that one objective, you can split
still...
it to two objectives and still get what you want. I'll split it to, in that two objectives, you might look at the third one to know if you can add the other one if you think it's short. You know, I mean, this is a grammar kind of arrangement. You have to arrange it in such a way, for example, to analyze, blah, 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 full stop. To analyze, to showcase, blah, blah, blah. The main thing should be in your argument inside the paper, not all these small areas that will enable you to move on. I don't know if you get the point.
Yeah,
The passion you have now should be inside the paper, demonstrating it and arguing it, and not getting yourself hooked up with arranging the phrases or tenses. I don't know, Henry, whether you're getting the point. Are you sure you're getting the point? Chika, are you getting the point? So the passion is there. Then you get the topic and make sure the topic is not giving you headache. Secondly, then you generate questions and make sure that research question is not giving you headache. Then again, research objectives and make sure they are not also giving you headache. The where you should have problems should be inside when you marshal out all these arguments, defending it inside the paper. But then these questions should be very clear, very simple, very easy. While when you now start arguing it, you now bring in all these things that you are talking about inside the paper. Am I there? Are you getting the point?
Well, Saida, I'm not writing thesis.
Correct. That is more reason why. That's more reason why you should not get yourself stuck. You won't punch yourself. Academically, the more you say something, the more you defend it.
Yeah, and I'm ready to forge ahead to defend it.
Correct. So forging ahead to defend also involves making it very simple, because whether thesis or independent studies, they are the same, excepting that one is longer and the other one is shorter. That's all. But that
But if your IS is more than the pages of thesis, is still the
it's
same.
still okay. It's up to you. It's up to you. But that, just that, I'm the living example. My thesis was about 300 and something.
Wow.
And I was asked to reduce because I was talking about Igbo spirituality. And they know our culture as Igbo people. Once you start writing,
300 pages.
yeah, for my thesis. So I was told to remove. And I didn't know what to remove inside it, because, when you talk about the culture of a people, it flows, especially if it is your culture that you know very well. You don't need to borrow anything from anybody to explain the culture you were born inside, you were born in, and then you want to defend. So that's why my topic, in my PhD, I wrote about 500 and something. They said, no, it's too much. My PhD was, maybe I should be bringing all these things here. It's unbelievable. But that is because of the kind of topic, just like this your topic now, the role of traditional rulers. You have to tell us, what do you mean by traditional rulers? From where? If you talk about Igbo people, you have to tell us who are the Igbos you are talking about. Do you understand? And then Igbos, do they have security gadgets? Do they have security management in their own communities? So once you get into a cultural area or social area, you have to bring in certain things. Before you know what is happening, your independent might be about 100 pages. Because you need to get this. That will make it even very nice and intellectually stimulating. So that is back to what we are saying. That's the point. Just you make the equation simple, make the objective simple. Oh my God, your paper will be so nice and easy to shoot. Okay, now what is the next topic? Next objective.
Okay. To identify the key challenges and opportunities for diplomatic engagement in peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in
You see how you
Nigeria.
are putting it. To identify the key challenges and opportunities.
Yes, for diplomatic engagement in peaceful transition.
To identify key challenges and opportunities. All those things that are passionately pushing you should be viewed inside. However, if you want to handle it that way and you're sure you're capable with all these long kind of objectives, but then technically speaking, if I'm the one to be a supervisor, you still go back to this way, because you need to be very simple. Go straight to the point. And then argue all this in your paper. But it depends anyway. But then I'm not with your topic right now. I'm not, if I am looking at them, then I'll be able to actually add or remove. But I believe that in the context of this class, you guys will present your paper as well, apart from terminologies. Okay, now, back to what we're saying. Writing a research article advice to beginners. A good research paper addresses a specific research question. The research question or study objective or main research hypothesis is the central organizing principle of the paper. Whatever relates to the research question belongs in the paper. The rest doesn't. This is perhaps because when the paper reports on a well-planned research, this is perhaps obvious. When the paper reports on a well-planned research project. So it's very, very simple. I mean, we're just making it as if it's extraordinary. It's very, very simple. Once your objective is clear, once your research question is very clear, the rest is the case. Any question?
No, sir.
So, Henry, is your topic and your research question objective clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mine is clear. I'm good to go.
Sometimes it may be clear, but when you get into academic line, then you know that you were joking. Okay, now, what is a good research question? Look at it here. The key attributes are specificity. Be specific. Remember what I was telling you. To analyze, period. To demonstrate, period. To show, period. Specific. Originality or novelty. It should be coming from you. It's not that you copied it from internet.
You can see the passion. You can see my passion because the protest that is going on in our country is too.
That is actually a good starting
it's too
point.
much.
To be passionate is good starting point. That is the point. To be passionate is good starting point because then you are not being forced.
Yes.
And I'm afraid if you are passionate, that means that you write more because you will keep writing and arguing the way it is in your heart and soul and spirit. And that is a good start. So, a key attribute for a good research question, number one, should be specific, originality, general relevance to a broad scientific community. Do you know what the third one means? Number one, you understand it very clearly. Specificity, originality. How about the third one? What do you understand that to be, Mr.
Yeah, what I understand, looking at my topic, I've looked at the protest that's going on in Nigeria, right? So if I'm able to argue and give them my recommendation, letting know that they can actually transit this protest to a reform in our country, I think it will help my country, Nigeria.
But he said
General relevance to a broad scientific community.
Broad scientific
That
community.
means if they are saying I'm just limiting it to my country because why I'm writing is because of the protests that are going on in my country.
Mm-hmm. So
its relevance is to my country. Other communities from other countries can as well draw inspiration from it.
Right now you have gotten it. Because your paper should not be just too local. Your paper should also, your question, your attention should also be centered exactly what we said now. After it must have been implemented either by the state government of your state in Nigeria or by federal government, it may be seen by someone in Kenya, someone from Kenya, and might be used to solve the same problem over there. It may even be seen by someone from Asian country, an academic who may have seen your paper and then used it in order to solve problem in their own area. That is why, in my own view, a broad scientific community. Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You said, what is a good research question? Simple, specific, originality, and then general to all. Any question?
No, sir.
A research question should be precise and not merely identifying a general area of inquiry. See that? A research question should be precise and not merely identifying a general area of inquiry. For example, we examine whether providing patients about to be discharged from the hospital with written information about their medications, if it would improve their compliance with the treatment in 1 month later after that. Let me not go into medical area because that's not your area. But the message here is that a research question should be precise and not merely identifying a general area of inquiry. To analyze, remember what you said, to analyze.
No, that is the objective. The research question is how can diplomacy facilitate a peaceful transition from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria?
How can a diplomacy help in Nigeria? You say precise, be precise, should be precise and not merely identify a general area of inquiry. You see what I was trying to let you avoid? Just be specific on a particular one. Write it down and then keep looking at it and ask yourself which one is simpler. How would you put it in after all, you are the one that formulated the language already. You are the one that formulated the grammar already, or the phrase, or the clause.
Yes.
Yeah. So the same you must make it precise and not merely identifying a general area of that your topic. Because you ask the question, questions shouldn't be only one. There may be about 3 questions.
Yes, there are three questions.
Correct.
Yes.
So there is trying to say here, precise, be precise, and do not identify the entire topic in your question because you have other questions as well.
I have
and
other.
make it very simple.
Yeah, I have 3 questions here.
Okay. So Henry, are you there with the point here? A research question should be precise and not merely identifying a general area of inquiry. You are talking about what is the topic then again?
Rules of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in Nigeria.
Rules of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity
In
southeastern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
Correct. Should be precise. Role of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in the southern part of Nigeria. Southeast.
Yes,
not southern. So you have to be looking at it to be sure that it is precise and then not just announcing the information. Okay, because you should have about at least 2 or 3, 3 is okay. Because if you say more, you write more. Okay. Structure of the paper. Once the research question is clearly defined, get it, very, very important. Once a research question is clearly defined, writing the paper becomes considerably easier. We said it. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Once a research question is clearly defined, writing the paper becomes considerably easier. The paper will ask the question and then answer it. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
The paper will ask the question and then answer it. That is why it's an academic paper. You raise the question, you pose the question, you identify the problem in your community. By the way, remember that in some places, the terminology is not research question. It is what? Research problem.
Yeah, research problem, yes. Or this statement of problem.
Statement of problem. Yeah. So we have to understand.
Research question and statement of problem, are they similar?
They are the same thing, depending on the way you put it. If you put your own as a research question, good. If you put it as a statement of problem, that problem that you noticed now that made you to write, so start writing.
Gang, gang, gang.
I put research question and also statement of problem.
Because you want, it's still the same.
Okay, there's no problem in it.
There's no problem if you want, because writing the research paper depends on you and the format you want. So one person might find it very easy in getting your research question. Another person may find it difficult, but find it very easy in getting your statement of problem. But it's just like, put it mildly, tautology. But then remember that it depends on the kind of research. There are some research you conduct, it will bring in all these terminologies. It will bring all of them, just to make sure that people are clarified and that the paper is the clarity is very clear in the paper.
But if
So, but if you don't want to get that same research statement, problem statement is research question. Go and check. If you notice any difference, then you need to know that you are, because the topic you have should actually be the same. It's not a complicated topic.
So I want to ask, when you talk about research problem, will you say that, okay, for instance, you already have a research question. Those are research question. When you come to the statement of problem, you state some problems.
The problem is that
relating
research
to-
question.
Yes, yes. You state from, for instance, you are talking about insecurity in Nigeria. Then when you come to your research statement of problems, you can actually point out some problems in Nigeria that is relating to the insecurity you're talking about.
The same thing that you will also ask in a question, only that you put it as a question. But then statement of problem that you are now making it as a statement.
Specifying,
You are specifying it
Pointing
as a
somewhere.
statement, pointing it out
like unknown
without
government,
asking it as a
something.
question. So in an academic paper, it depends on you. Which methodology are you using? If you are employing the methodology of research question, then you are asking it as a question.
Yeah,
But then if you don't want to use it,
Yeah, you can use
you
the
can
two.
use up to you because it's your paper. But why using the two when you already asked the question and it looks like putting yourself on a, but anyway, it depends on you. If your heart and soul accepts that the fact that accept the fact that you need to put it as a statement or whatever that you're comfortable. That depends on you and your supervisor.
because sometimes I feel that when someone is reading your research, if the person look at the research question, okay, the person might not really be a kind of trying to know what he or she is expecting. But when the person read the statement of the
The
problem,
problem is from you, it's not from the person.
yeah, no, I know the problem is from me.
Yeah.
Okay, now the person is trying to see the problem that I'm seeing
Yeah.
while he's reading it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because like you said, you must have the passion,
Yes.
right? And the passion will force you to bring out a lot of things that is coming out.
Yeah, but don't forget, the passion should not mislead you into creating situations that will make it very difficult for you to express your passion. Because once the research question is clearly defined, writing the paper becomes considerably easier. The paper will ask the question and then answer it. Then what is the essence of problem statement? The paper will state the problem and then provide a solution, that is, answer it. The paper will state the research problem and then solve the problem in the paper. So whether it's a research problem in form of research problem or statement of the problem or as a research question, it's just the same thing, depending on your methodology. But as a writer, just as you are passionate, you must still put it there. Yeah, but let there not be conflict because academically, the research statement, problem statement, and research question shouldn't be conflicting. It's just like repeating the same thing. The other one is like a question. The other one is a research statement. You're making a statement like you go to police, they ask you make a statement. And the other one is a research problem. You are now pointing out all the problems that motivated you to write, which you had asked as a question. I don't know if you guys are getting it.
Yes, sir.
Henry, are you there? Is it confusing?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's clear.
So, the key to successful writing is setting the structure of the paper right. You see that? The key to a successful scientific writing is getting the structure of the paper right. And the structure is what you are talking. Because if you now say research question and later also in the same paper research
Statement of problem.
the statement of the problem, don't you think that you are ring-marolling, you are recycling, you are moving in the same thing? So that's why he said here, the key to successful scientific writing is getting the structure of the paper right. That passion that made you to write, ask research question at the same time, statement of the problem, come on. Just start delving into the main answer because you have already asked it in a research question, but it's up to you. If you can handle all of them, handle it passionately, and your advisor is in line with that, then it's okay. The most important thing is to ask the question, so answer it, then state the problem, solve it. State the problem, provide a solution in your paper. That is what they put together. The basic structure of a typical research paper is the sequence of introduction, methods, results, discussions. That is, this one depends on the department. Each section addresses a different objective. You see that? So it's in the introduction that you will now put research question, right? Am I correct? It is in the introduction you put the background of the research. It is in the introduction you put the study significance of the research.
Study.
It's in the introduction that you put the statement of the problem,
Problem.
or the problem,
Problem
the
statement.
study problem or problem statement, and then problem question, and then objectives, and then methodology and stuff. In the introduction, you put all this. So when you keep repeating them, you keep punching yourself, and then keep creating a hole. You might digging a hole that you might enter. So that is why it's preferable to make sure that the structure is very simple. I don't know if we have our format already. Do you have the format?
Yes, sir.
The current format given. Yeah, it's supposed. So we're supposed to even inform them. Yeah, somebody is working on it. Okay, now look at the one they gave to someone I am taking care of. Introduction. The format is background and significance of research, then research questions, then research objectives, the scope of research, research methodology, conceptual framework, definition of terms, limitations of research, expected benefits of research. You see that? I don't think any department will just put research questions and then problem of research at the same time.
We need to have
Don't forget your own is also, anyone you do is also okay. But I will give you this one, but just
structure.
yeah, it depends on your supervisor because it depends on your topic. Because some topics might require certain structure, different from general structure. But anyway, if I have the time, if we have the time during the break, I may go and copy this one because I don't know if. But if you get to the department during the break, what's time? You can go and ask the secretary to film to give you the research.
If they will still be in the office.
They should. Okay. Because this is the level you are now. But don't forget, even if you get it, don't get confused. Format is not the main problem. The problem is
It's what you are writing, right?
Yes. Because whatever you write, any format given to you, you put it there. Just like in a paper, this academic conference. If you have your paper ready, it's just for you to copy and paste according to their format because you have the thing already. Okay, so we move on. The author states, the problem they intend to address in other terms, what they did to answer the questions in methods section, what they observed in the results section, and what they think the results mean in the discussion. Okay, so as you are writing the problem, you are intending to actually talk about, you should be able to put it in the sections as I've listed. And then at the end of the day, there is a result, depending if you're following this format. There is a results section, how you conducted the research and the result you came out with. Then what did they think? And then discussion, the place you have to discuss all these arguments, just what this person said, and then you consulted another person who said different thing. If it's the book you are talking about, Henry said so and so on this particular topic, and yet Sheikh has said differently on the same topic. They agreed in a particular areas, but they disagreed in particular areas. Do you understand the point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is the discussion. That is where you now talk about all that. Okay. So as we move on, imagine we are talking about introductory part. In introduction, the author should explain the rationale and background to the study. Have you done that? Remember what you did about introduction. What's the essence of introduction? Introduction is like a hook. Remember, Sheikh, are you there or you are doing something else?
I'm here, sir. I'm with you.
What should be in introduction? In introduction, the authors should explain the rationale and background to the study. Have you done that already?
Yes.
Yes. We are talking about introduction here. I think you have been distracted. Are you here or somewhere else?
I'm with you, sir. I'm not.
Okay. In introduction, you should be able to explain what motivated you. Why do you decide to write that topic? And what will the world gain, or academic field gain, or scholars gain, or you yourself gain, or the community gain? What is the research question? Is an introductory part, you also put it. And why is it important to ask it? Why are you asking the question? You see how it's coming? Because once all these things are clear in your mind, I bet you can just stay here and finish your IS one day. Yes, you got me correct. One day. If you just situate your research question properly, situate your research objectives properly, your paper is finished. You have already completed your paper. Because the rest is your English and your sense of argumentation. Why it is neither necessary nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of a literature as a prelude to the study. It is helpful to situate the study within some larger field of inquiry. What does this mean? While it is neither necessary nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of the literature as a prelude to the study, it is helpful to situate a study within some larger field of inquiry. Can you just read this and explain to me what you understand by that? This is a very simple thing, but the word English.
The English is kind of complex, sort of.
Yeah, because it's complex and.
The thing is that your research is meant to focus on a particular area.
Yeah.
From the previous question you asked about broadcasts, on the past slide that we are talking about, if you are researching on something, when the government implements it, hope that another country can also adopt from what you wrote to solve that particular problem. I think that's what that sentence is talking about.
Is it really? Read it again. But you are correct in your analysis.
Yeah, when you said about
why it is neither necessary nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of the literature as a prelude to the study. It is helpful to situate the study within some larger field of inquiry.
Yes, specify it to a larger field of inquiry.
Meaning what? I want you to tell me what that means.
For instance, which example are we going to use? Okay, I'm talking about if you're talking about insecurity in what part? For instance, is it insecurity in this office, or is it insecurity in, let's say, in Niger Delta, oil insecurity or theft, or herdsmen or unknown gunmen? So specify it to a particular part of what? Insecurity. Or if you want to talk about the insecurity as in general, will you be able to cover all of them? Cyber security.
Your descriptions.
Transnational national crimes. They are part of insecurity. So just specify the insecurity to a particular part of insecurity you are going to.
You got everything you are saying now very correct, but there's something hidden here. You got everything you are saying very correct, but there is something hidden here. Something is hidden.
What you said, you already said it.
Read it. Something is hidden here. There's something hiding. Something is hiding there, and you guys know what it is. Something is hiding there. Okay, now,
Okay, are you saying
in introduction, the author should explain the rationale and background to the study. What is the research question and why is it important to ask it? We have talked about this, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, you want further. Why it is neither necessary nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of the literature as a prelude to the study. It is helpful to situate the study within some larger field of inquiry.
larger field of inquiry?
I am not saying that what you said is wrong. Oh. That's not what I'm saying. But something is being launched here, and I want you to tell me that.
The literature review,
Uh-huh.
inquiry, like a wide view of inquiry. Gets from here, gets from here, gets from here. To actually put that to point.
For the fact they have mentioned literature review, that's the point. What is hidden here? Give what is always given, Mike. What is hidden here is literature review. Yeah, he even mentioned it. Why it is neither necessary nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of literature. You go to the library, you start reading everything. No,
Yes,
that's what
yes.
he's trying to warn you. You cannot be writing about this and then start to writing everything about America or about Europe or Asia or entire African country. You are situating it somewhere. Why? That's what you say. Why it is necessary, even though it's necessary because you need to read, you need to know before you start writing. Nor desirable to provide a full-blown review of a literature as a prelude to the study. It is helpful, it says it's helpful, to situate the study within some larger field of inquiry. If you're talking about security, you can still, their literature review should be within security books. You're talking about diplomacy and those big words you are using. So the books you are going to consult, the literature should be exactly. Are you guys getting it? Yes. So that is what that's why I'm saying that what you said, you got everything correctly in your analysis, but I just wanted to hit at the
Literature.
He's announcing and proclaiming something here. Even though you go to the library that you want to write something, but when you get to the library, he's trying to tell you, when you get to the library, you don't get carried away with so many topics.
Yes.
That you have to situate what you are reading to a particular topic you are looking for. Otherwise, you get lost. Research questions should always be spelled out and not merely left for the reader to guess. Well, of course, we have known this. So these are minimal at the starting point for the beginners. Typical structure of a research paper. Introduction. In introduction normally states why the problem you address is important. Introduction states what is lacking in the current knowledge. Introduction states the objectives of your study or the research question. You see, we are still saying the same thing because once you get it, your paper is done. So saying that in your introduction, try to state why the problem you address is important. What H, remember, as we talked about in abstract. But introduction is a different type of invitation. Said in introduction, state why the problem you address is important. Remember, something is important, that's why you are passionate about it. Remember, Chika, something is important, that's why you are passionate about it. State what is lacking in the current knowledge. Maybe you have read something a lot, something is lacking, that is why you are there. That is why you are wasting the time to do the research. So you state what is lacking. Why there is that insecurity. Why you need that diplomacy to solve that problem. State the objectives of your study or the research question. Do we need to repeat it again? That's what introduction will do for you. Methods. This is, of course, depending on the type and the type of structure you are following. In the methods, describe the context and setting of the study. Specify the study design. Describe the population. Who are the people I'm talking about? For you, Southeast Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
And then not just Southeast Nigeria, talking about insecurity. And then not just insecurity, you're talking about involving the role of
Traditional rulers.
traditional rulers. You see that? Describe the population. Describe the sampling strategy. Describe the intervention, if applicable. Identify the main study variables. Describe data collection instrument and procedures. Outline analysis methods. That is, if you are following this particular method. There are so many methods, but if you are following this particular method, that is what you are supposed to, the people reading your paper should see in methods. Introduction, methods. Introduction will be chapter what? Chapter 1. Methods will be chapter what? 2 now.
Chapter 2, yes.
Result, chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 4, discussion. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the structure. That is one of the things you say in the method now. You say, describe the context and setting of the study. Specify the study design. So that's what I'm saying. Be very, very be careful. In the MBA department, they have different method. MAPD, different method. If you go to another place, different method. The most important thing is that we are doing a research paper. Yeah, but the structure might not be the same, depending on the department. Any question?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
All clear.
In our department, chapter 1 is introduction. Chapter 2, literature review. Chapter 3, one of the objectives solved. Chapter 4, one of the objectives solved. That is the question you ask and you are solving. Chapter 5, one of the objectives or research question attended to. Then chapter 6 or thereabout, conclusion, discussions, and recommendation, according to our department. But there are people, students with 6-3 ID, and those that they are supervised, they are not following this method. They are following a different method from a philosophy department. Very simple. Go just straight to the analysis of situation.
We really need a template so that we know how to.
No, you're supposed to have gone to collect it from them, so it's your responsibility. Okay, now method. Then here I talk about. Imagine you're following this structure. Results. In this result, report on data collection and recruitment, response rates, etc. Describe the participants, demographic, clinical condition, etc. Present key findings with respect to the central research question. Present secondary findings, secondary outcomes, and subgroup analysis. This is this particular format. When you hear result, it means that where you now let loose, where you have just showcased what you have done, where you have just let people see your findings. But then when you come to discussion, state the main findings of the study. Discuss the main result with reference to previous research. Discuss policy, practice, implementations, implications of the results. Analyze the strengths and limitations of the study. Offer perspective for future work. I don't know if you're getting the difference.
Yes.
Result, this column for result might be chapter. If you follow this kind of format, introduction should be chapter 1 in this kind of format. Methods should be chapter 2 in this kind of format. Results should be chapter 3 in this kind of format. Discussion should be chapter 4. And in the discussion there, you state the main findings of the study. You are now talking. You are now free, arguing why this happened, why this person said this because he's old enough. But the younger one said this, different from what the elderly people said. And the middle-aged people who who has some relationship with elderly people and young ones, look at the way they view this situation when you interview them. So you have to talk about these things. At the end of the day, why, even in the younger ones, those who are conservatives, they reason this way. Those who are liberal minded, they reason this way. You see, these are the things we talk in the discussions. The method section should provide the readers with sufficient details about the study methods. You see that? Including literature review, if you are following this. Though this section should be specific, concrete, technical, and fairly detailed. The study setting, the sampling strategy used, instruments, data collection methods, and analysis and analyzing strategies should be described. Strategy employed should be described. That's what it means. The results section is typically fairly straightforward and factual. All results that relate to the research question should be given in detail. The discussion session allows the most freedom. This is where the discussion is the most difficult to write and is often the weakest part of a paper. Structured discussion sections have been proposed by some journal editors. While strict adherence to such rules may not be necessary, following a plan such as that proposed in Table 1 may help to the novice writer to stay on track. Do you remember what I said in discussion part? That is where, as an Igbo, two of you are from Igbo. Ebe a na-akụzi asịrị. Okeke ji wee kwuo ife dị etu, Ọkafọ ji wee kwuo ife dị etu, anyị na-ekọ elizi ife dị iche, ife ebe ekwukọtara ọnụ na ife kwesịrị ikwu na ife na-ekwesịrị ikwu ma na-ekwule. Mana nke a kwesịrị ikwu mana fụrụ ya ebe ahụ. Mana ikwukwerizi mkpa anyị jiri wee fụ ya ebe ahụ. Then, reference should be used wisely. Key assertions should be referenced as well as the methods and instruments used. However, unless the paper is a comprehensive review of a topic, there is no need to be exhaustive. Also, references to unpublished work, to documents in a gray literature, technical report, or to any source that the reader will have difficulty finding or understanding should be avoided. Remember, reference. Any form of, as you are beginning to write your paper, reference is the most important part. Copy and paste. And now we are being confronted with this our monster called AI. AI. I pity those who are making use of that in academic research without being careful. The effort you will even put in doing that is enough for you to do it by yourself and then look for editor. But then if you want them to do it for you, sorry. By the time you submit it and it's checked and you found out that it's done by AI, wahala. So this topic, I believe this is an advice for the beginner. Introductory part, then make sure you have research question clearly asked, and then make sure you have an objective clearly situated and stated, then the paper is done. Okay, question. Question time. Henry, do you have any question?
We have already asked. The one I asked before that was relating to the research question and statement of problem, which you have clarified already. But my thinking of the research, you actually said that you can include your research statement of problem, and if needed, depending on the type of topic you are writing, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's where.
But then I also said you have to be careful too, so that you not be involved in tautology. Redundancy. They call it redundancy. Repeating almost the same thing. Because once you have asked the question, what's the essence of statement of problem? Then if you have stated your problem, what's the essence of research question?
So can we say that? But you rightly said that you can use the. You said that you can use the tool.
You can use the tool,
Yeah.
but the point is that you are the person using the tool for what purpose? Especially in this, you are independent studies. not even in a PhD dissertation.
So that means I should kind of remove one and
I wouldn't tell you to remove anything because you're at the beginning point. Just keep getting everything you think is important. But by the time the supervisor must have looked into it, you'll be able to advise you appropriately whether this is needed or not. Because sometimes if I say remove anything, you might remove something that your heart will be beating you that why should I remove this?
that is true.
So just keep it as it is.
because I'll be looking at it. What am I going to remove?
Just
How-
leave.
how
You
am I
had
going
it-
to-
You're having the same problem with me. When I was asked by an Assumption University to remove some part of the pages, I wrote about 500. I looked at it, I have nothing to remove. I submitted it again. I said, I don't know what to remove. But the removing of it, I don't even see reason why people should be asked to remove something. Since they are the one to publish it, or maybe probably the supervisors are lazy, who knows? Or probably they are not lazy, but they want you to be properly situated. So no, don't remove anything at the moment, please. You can go on with whatever you have until then.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much for this particular topic of advice for beginners. Let's be on break and then we'll be back after 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so welcome back. Now, we would like to look into research question as a separate slide. You see that? 5WH. What, when, how, who, why, where. Can you remember all these W and H? Is it possible?
Yes.
Because that will actually enable you, even in your introduction. What are you talking about? Any point you are saying, when did it happen? Because you have to put them there. You have to you have to create the scope. The point, what you are saying, which depending on the topic anyway. Where are you talking about in all these things you are saying? Why? And then who and who are involved and how? Research question is a statement which identifies the problem that the research is going to address. You see that? Andre, are you there? You see the same thing. It's like I start problem statement, the study problem, the research problem, or problem statement. Can you tell me the difference between the research problem and problem of the research?
Problem of the research.
Yes. These are the difference between the research problem and problem of the research.
Something.
Problem of the research. From my own understanding, maybe when you say problem of the research is, okay, you have gone through this research and there is an error in it, or there is a problem, the person didn't align the work towards the objective. That means you say this research have a problem, or is not complete, or is is not aiming at the target of
Perfect. I think there's no best way to put it.
Yeah,
Problem
that
of the
means
research is that
you have
your
written the
entire
research,
work
your entire work have a problem.
has a problem. Maybe you're talking about, let's say you're talking about Igbo people, written by one Hausa person in the Sokoto, and he has not been in Igbo land, and then all the objectives and the questions and the research design and everything, you can't imagine it, you as an Igbo person that read it or any other scholar. So problem of that research has a problem.
Yes.
Or just example what you said.
Or instead of
Because
writing
the
about
person did not even answer the question he asked. And so many other things. So that's the problem of the entire research.
Yeah.
So, which is different from the research problem.
That means
Meaning, the research problem in this case means the problem that the researcher is seeking to solve. I mean, I hope you guys are getting it because most people
yes,
get
yes,
it
I
wrong.
understand what That means the research have an error. It's cancelled.
That is the problem of the research.
Research, yes.
Yeah, but the research problem is the problem you, as a researcher, is trying to solve.
Yes. But when you say
The
that
problem you
research-
itemized that you're about to solve, that is the research problem. If you're not careful, you get confused about it. Research problem meaning, what is this research problem? Ask that question. What is this research problem? What's the problem the writer is about to solve?
so
That is, I'm looking at the research. Okay, look at it. But the problem of the research is something different altogether. So now let's continue. Research question is a statement which identifies the problem that the research is going to address. Do you still think it's important for you to have research question and statement, problem statement? It is a question you are trying to answer when you do research on topic. Research question is a question that needs to be answered. If the research question needs to be answered, what's the need to start writing again in the same paper? Research problem statement. Are you answering that too? Is it different from the research question? Andrew, should it be different from the research question?
no.
Research statement, problem statement, and the research question, are they going to be different? Cheka, don't and give you an issue. Now you carry up for head. Are they going to be different?
No, but they are not. They are not going to be different. They are not going to be different. But it's a kind of, when you are writing a research, okay, you need to consider some particular set of people. You mustn't consider only an intellectual people. Okay.
Then what has that got to do with your research question and research statement, problem statement?
Again?
What you're saying now, where is the connection between that and research question terminology used, and then problem statement terminology also?
Yeah, like you said, it's a kind of repeating yourself, but like.
But don't forget, let me help you here, in case if you want. Don't forget, you can carry this statement of the problem and put in your introduction.
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you.
And remain a separate.
Because what I understand by this statement of problem is, for instance, you are talking about insecurity, right? You have asked your particular question, why is there insecurity in this southeast? So from the statement problem, you try to point out like those problems
I am teaching you
that
today.
happen.
I am teaching you today. They are not different.
Yes,
And that's
I know
why
they
you're
are-
in this class. So what are the solution? I understand what I said. The solution now is that for you that may find it difficult to take it, please carry it
And put in
put in your introductory part. And
okay.
remain and leave research question as it is,
it
as
is.
part of introductory part. But then during the background of the study, significance of the study, then put that your
Statement
passion,
of problem.
that statement of problem that you don't want to throw away. Put it in that as that will because it will enable your introductory part to look very nice and acceptable, look very academic. But then to repeat research question, that's why we're in this class, so that you know all these things. To repeat the research questions and then research problem of the research. Because look at what you said there. Research question is a statement which identifies the problem that the research is going to address. He said again, it is the question you are trying to answer when you do research on topic. He said again, research question is a question that needs to be answered. So if you say that a research question, after answering it, then you answer research statement of oh my God. You are now giving your supervisor a bullet to shoot you. If he's a strict one, then you stay there, you may not graduate. But anyway, some researches could get something like that, depending on how complicated it is. but not at this level we are talking about. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So just carry it. Don't throw it away. Constructively put it in the introductory part, and then remain the question that the one that is very easy that you've already asked and itemized. Okay. So research question refer to a problem which is needed to be resolved. You see that? Research questions refer to a problem which is needed to be resolved. I hope this English is correct. Yeah, it could still be correct. Research questions refer to a problem because the research is actually one problem which is needed to be resolved. Okay. The right question helps you to focus your research question. The right question helps you to focus on your research question. Remember how we started?
Yes.
Research question require about the relationship among variables in the form of a question that is phrased as a question. You can phrase it as a question. You can put it as a statement of
Problem.
problem. Are you there, Stanley? I hope you are not tired, yeah? Okay. The research question is one of the most important parts of your research project, i.e., thesis or dissertation. What effect does daily use of WhatsApp have on the attention of students' mind? You see that? Question. How can the water coverage be improved in Bangkok City, for example? You see how it's going straight. That's what I was asked. We started with. If you could make ask a very simple question, your research will enable you to move on without much problem. So, what effect does daily use of WhatsApp have on the attention of students' mind? You see the way this is actually a PowerPoint from a student, and I'm using it because he made it very clear and made it very simple for me. Another question. What are the types of water supply management system in the district? Do you see how he's going straight to the question without complex questions, without complicated question, grammatical kind of issues being noticed in terms of simple question? All research questions should be focused, specific, appropriately complex, and relevant to a social issue. Do you agree with that? Characteristics of a good research question. It is interesting for the researcher and others. Yes. Remember, when you are reading very long something, you have to make it very simple so that it will be interesting to the researchers, you yourself, or other researchers, or anybody that would like to read it. Don't make it complicated or complex. It is feasible, clear, significant, and ethical. There should be principle of what is right and wrong inside it as well. Cannot just ask any kind question, a question that would be very offensive for a particular people. It should not be too broad or too narrow. It is relevant. The answer will be of benefit and has implications. It is original, setting out to discover something new. You see that? Something new. Passion must be something new that you are contributing. Do you have any question here?
No, sir.
Characteristics of a good research question. Researchable. Something that is researchable. Research questions become the basis of research objectives. The main difference between research questions and research objectives is the way they are worded. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you learning something there?
Very clear.
Almost all your research questions, if there are three, automatically they are the objectives. It just depends on how you put them. The one is to analyze, as you said, to show, to demonstrate, to illustrate, to examine, to investigate. But then you can now, in a research question, now turn it into a question. Are you there, Henry? Research questions take the form of questions, whereas research objectives are statement achievements expressed using action-oriented words. Hello?
Hi.
Can you explain to me what we mean here? Research questions take the form of questions, whereas research objectives are statements, achievements, expressed using action-oriented words.
It just is very simple
Yes?
that the research question and the research objective are same. But the only difference is that the research questions will be in a question form, while the objective will just be just as a statement that you're just making it something that will attend to a certain goal.
You are adding something there now.
Okay,
You
just
got it,
just a
Daniel.
statement.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
repeating exactly what you wrote before.
Just a statement.
You are just repeating the sentence, accepting that the research question is a question, but this one is a statement with using action-oriented words. That is to be, to investigate, to examine, to analyze, to showcase, aim at, something like that. The research question becomes the basis of research objectives. So that when you are even answering them in your paper, you will now say, let's say chapter 3 will be, you are attending to one question, and then you're also attending the objective. Chapter 4, second question and second objective. Chapter 5,
Third question.
third question and third objective. Then chapter 6, conclusion and recommendation. You see how simple it looks? If you just get all these things very simplified, you will be free. You will find yourself in a very, very comfortable zone. And you will be in a very comfortable zone while doing your research. Any question?
No.
Research question. Any question about that?
No question. Well understood.
Pardon?
Well understood.
What do you understand? Tell me.
Yeah, what I understood is that your research question must be straightforward, and your research question and objective must be same, but the difference is going to be that the research question will be in a question form, while the research objective will be in a statement.
Wow. So Henry, what do you understand by this one, this topic?
Yeah, this topic, what I understood is first about the research question and statement of problem, which have been clarified. That's the one confusion I was getting, which have been clarified. And also, your research question have to be simple, not complex. Avoid using complex words. Just ask simple questions relating to the research you are doing. That you that is doing the research will be able to answer when you go through your literature reviews and your arguments, you'll be able to also get the answer to your research question so easily than making it to being complex.
Very good, noted. So now let's get to the next topic, which is significance of the study. Sometimes that is the first, that is 1.1. Background and significance of studies. 1.1. Sometimes some researchers will put it in a different 1.5 or something like that. As the name implies, it explains why your study is important and what benefits can be diverted from your research. What benefit we can get from your research. Sometimes students' slides could also be posing problem for me. As the name implies, it simply explains why your research is important. It is your duty to prove to the faculty, to anybody reading your paper, why your paper is very important. And the benefit that that paper should give to the academic community, or even for the scientific community, or even for the people where you are directing it to. This part indicates the importance or necessity of the study. It is also called justification or importance of the study. You see, we have seen this one in problem statement, research question, research problem. Here now, you can also see something like justification of the research, importance of the research. They are all talking about significance of the research. Why are you doing what you are doing? What is the reason? What is your base? What is your foundation? What is the background? And why it is important to do that? Why is it important for me to even spend my time to listen to your who would benefit and how? Then the significance of research. Society in general, the research field to which your topic belongs to. You are talking about the security. Probably the governors of your states will begin to look into it, know whether there is any area he could get something.
Get something from it.
Either the commissioner or whoever might get something from that. Specific groups, educators or students, future researchers. These are the people that you will be able to prove the significance of your study. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Who will benefit and how? Contribution to a new knowledge, because you are giving new knowledge. Experts who are concerned about the problem, yes. Those who are affected by the problem. Example, benefits to the organization under the investigation to academia. Filling knowledge gap and or existing knowledge or extending existing knowledge. So what we are saying now, we are not writing research. We are not saying write independent study just for that to end up in the library. That is why there is academic proceedings. That is why there is academic conference. Why? Because we are expected to put it there. Because after independent study, don't forget to be in the library here. But part of it is already shown in the academic record. You can Google your name and see that also. Some people the papers I've written, my thesis actually, some of my papers, I've seen people who consulted me. That is why currently the universities, they have e-library. They can also, because initially after writing all these theses, all these article, paper, or whichever one that is academically oriented, then they will just put it in the library and nothing will be done about it. But it's no longer the case now. Nowadays, you can Google your name and see it there. Whoever wants it will be able to locate it.
Yes, I've seen it.
You have seen what?
I've seen some of your works there.
Yeah,
The
in the
e-library,
e-library, right?
And some students' works too.
Yeah, correct. Even in some other universities have graduated, you can still see it there. Because this in IT or internet world we are into, nothing is hidden any longer. Everything is online. And of course, we see that AI is now here. So, when you apply these few tips, it will prevent your mind from wandering without direction as you draft your significance of the study. Moreover, it will help you to focus on the next section of your project in order to finish on time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you sure? Thank you very much for your attention. So, any question about significance of studies?
Question, sir.
No question?
Like when you talk about the significance of study, it's actually the beginning of the introduction, right?
Yes.
So there you have to, that's just like a brief introduction of the topic you want to talk about.
You have to say your background. After analyzing your background and after stating all those things that will make readers to believe in what you're writing, then Sometimes some people end it with the significance of study, the importance of this study. Why some people they still separate it as 1.5, not 1, not under background and the significance of study. Depending, remember you are the owner of your paper, depending on how you
Want to
put it, and in agreement with our supervisor. Okay, so let's go. Let me give you 3 minutes break to. So now we are back once again. Now we talk about the scope of the study. Some people they use limitation of the study. Some people they use the scope of the study. Some people they add both limitation and scope. They say limitation and scope of the study. This section specifies the boundaries of their research, the scope. This should include geographical scope, which defines the location of the study. What does this mean, Henry?
geographical scope. Like geographical scope simply talks about like location.
In your own topic, what is your scope?
My geographical scope is southeast region of Nigeria.
Okay, how about you, Chika?
Yeah, my scope is Nigeria as a whole.
Nigeria as a whole.
Yes.
Okay, so the time scope, which identifies the time which has been used to collect the data. So what is the time scope?
Well, the time score will be the time you spent,
Like
whether many months, 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, the time scale depends on how long it took you to carry out the research.
But what if you put it in the introductory part when you have not even carried out the research?
Yeah, like me, I didn't really specify in the proposal because I don't really know how long it's going to take me. And even if you specify it, you already know that within your limits, you can actually achieve this within 3 months, within 4 months, or within 2 months. So even if you specify, you already know you can actually do
Okay,
it.
now, noted. What about the scope of the time you are writing in your topic? What's the time scope in your topic?
my time scope.
Yes.
When we say like my time scope relating to my topic, I have to like on the methodology part of it, I have so many interviews to do because I have to interview some traditional rulers to get some information, some security, and also some people in the community to know how the types of insecurity that goes on within that region. So for me, my time scope will be probably 2 months or
The scope to do
2
the research
months
is 2 months, okay?
to 3 months.
Okay. Then how about the content scope?
The content scope, that means within these 3 months, I have to divide. Okay, I have to write from so chapter to this chapter. Then my methodology and interview takes like, let's say, 1 month. Then the conclusion and analyzing of my data will now take the remaining last of the month with the conclusion of the whole research.
How about you, Shaker?
Yeah, it's almost same thing. Just try to know how you have to now put a timetable to yourself. Just let me use the word timetable. Okay, from this week to this week, I must make sure I achieve either introduction or literature review or anyone. Within this month or within this week, I must make sure I achieve, okay, I want to interview some government officials or embassy like our Nigerian Thai embassy here, a Nigerian embassy here in Thailand. I want to interview one or two persons to hear from based on the diplomatic aspect of it. All right. So for me, I have to create just a timetable on how I'm going to follow up my case. Thank you.
Okay, now let me ask you guys about both the time and content of the scope, time, scope, and content differently from what you have explained in relation to your topic. What if I ask you about the time scope of your topic about inviting the kings in taking part in security of the Southeast? Which time? Time scope.
Is it within the research?
Yeah, the content. You can combine the word time scope and content scope in relation to that your topic. Because you are talking about security, right? Which time have you started noticing insecurity? At what point? At what point? Then which particular insecurity period of time are you actually directing your attention to? Or is this going to be open for the Igwes to come in to play a role? Why? What? How come that you started inviting them? What happens? Was it like that before? If not, which time is the scope of your paper?
Well, I'm a little bit confused. Is it the time the insecurity started, or
The time you have been noticing something of that nature is going on that made you wanting to go into such.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a period of so and so time to so and so time?
okay? Yes. Let me
Then
say
what is the time scope in your paper?
the time scope in my paper. Let's say
Because you have
depending on the
explained,
insecurity.
because you guys have explained the other one part of the time scope, like the time you are expecting to finish or the time you needed, even the content, how to collect them. But then I'm now asking the other side of the question of the time scope of the study. Because if there is insecurity in the southeast, right, you
Yes,
may have
well-
started at a particular time. So which time to which time?
It started like
Sheikh, I wanted to save you.
10 years, like let's say 10 years ago.
You have to mention a particular time. Because sometimes your research might require mentioning this time, just like you're talking about voters' apathy, or you're talking about national box. Which particular election, in what particular time, to what particular time, when did it start? That's part of the scope of the study.
Yeah, looking at my own topic, okay. If we were during the time of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, there was a very big protest, a heavy one at that, during the fuel subsidy issue. There's a very big problem, a very big protest. And even currently, the current administration, okay, let me not go to the current administration. The previous administration, Mohamed Buhari, our former president, there was also a protest. Okay, and now leading to the current president, Tinubu, which currently, just there was a protest as well. So these are the sections that
So in other words, your type, the scope of your study in relation to this
From
topic should be from
the time of the
20, is it 2015 or 2014?
Mine is from 2015 to 2024.
yes,
Exactly. Are you getting the scope of the study?
yes.
Uh-huh.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah. No, you cannot use that. You have to put the
You have to
time.
specify.
Yes. Then your own should be from
Same.
Goodluck, maybe
Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
2014 or
Yeah, 2014 till to date.
2024.
Yes, to date.
It has to be specified. That could also be scope of the study. Hello,
Hi.
are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
So because you cannot just leave it broad for somebody to guess. You say security and the South is when did it start? To have made you to start seeking for the role of traditional rulers to
Fight
you have to
insecurity.
explain. You have to make sure that you understand why you are targeting the role of the traditional ruler. What made you? What is the issue? So in the scope of the study, you can have, may have a way, in addition to what you said as the scope of the time frame you needed in your paper. You can also invent into a limitation too, in the sense of between so and so time to so and so time, there has been an unknown gunman situation or blah, 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 or either because of Nnamdi Kanu situation that Southeast started having issues on security, which is directly related, correlated with the fact that holding Nnamdi Kanu correlates with the insecurity because the people involved are trying to use it to talk to the government to release. You see, that is what the paper, that is what academic paper will do to you. That's what we're talking about, scope of the study. Then on your own, you are talking about Nigeria. So you should be able to let us know, as we say, between this time, you should be able to prove why that time is essential in your paper. You can also put it as a scope of your paper. Are you guys getting the point?
Yes, sir.
The limitation of, some people call it delimitation of the study. Side factors, variables that are not being included in the boundary. In terms of time frame, number of subject participants who are excluded, delimitation of the study. This would have been nice for you to put in your paper, but because it will make your paper bigger, then you removed it. But it would have been nice if it is considered. It would have been nice if you talk about the position with the governors, but that will now deviate the topic. Because the reason why you are attending towards traditional rulers is because of the effective nature of their role and the fact that they are what they tell the people directly from the grassroots, the people listen to. So that is why you are not involving the governor, because it's supposed to be the chief security of every state is what in Southeast. Who is the chief security officer in the southeastern part of Nigeria?
The chief securities.
The chief security. Nigeria, the chief security is the president.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
president.
Then in the states, who are the chief security?
The governors now.
Yeah, correct. But in your paper, you are trying to delimit them.
Yeah, yes.
And the reason why is because you can't have to explain why you are trying to delimit the governors and concentrate on the traditional rulers. It has to be convincing. Because then you now try to give a convincing argument why traditional rulers are so important in their individual towns, alongside with their president general. Because the people who are causing that problem are coming from
the community.
communities, and the governor cannot go and catch them. He can, even if he catch, they don't know where they're coming from. Sometimes they might even come from one state to another state, just like guerrilla war kind of a thing. You will catch some people here today, but that's not, they are not the people. So the role of traditional rulers as the security advisors can never be removed. It depends because of the culture of these people, because of the way these people believe in their system. After all, is the idea of governor is coming from Western leadership system of leadership or types of governance. But then the real people you are talking about the South is the real governor should be the traditional ruler. So you have to explain all these things. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
Yeah. Your own, you're talking about, what's that your topic?
Diplomacy. Exploring the role of diplomacy in transitioning from anti-government protest to reform in Nigeria.
Okay. Very wonderful. This is your topic. It's so nice, but if you can just find a way of making it simpler, your paper will also give you what you want. So that you won't be suffering by talking about transitioning, suffering talking about twist. These nuances might not be having issues for you. I believe Why not I ask AI? And, to rewrite this topic, to make this topic shorter.
Why should I ask AI?
So that we make the topic shorter.
If AI tried to restructure it for me, he will not give me that intellectual in-depth of what I want.
Perfect, but don't forget that the topic as a phrase does not stop the argument in your paper. But then topic as a phrase or clause might help you to make it a precise clarity. It's all about clarity. But it does not in any way stop any content of your argument. Because look at how you were, just like battle. Say it again. The role of
Exploring the role of diplomacy in transitioning, in moving from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria.
You see, very big topic.
And sweet.
Just sweet, but
virgin.
Yeah, but if you just make it very simple, it makes the.
Prof, I told you when I wrote my BSc, it was a virgin topic.
This it doesn't.
I love looking at.
It doesn't stop in the topic.
Yeah, I know. It's for you to prove your point.
Yeah, proving the point is about the body, not whether the topic. Because the topic, I don't know whether you are getting the point. The passion you are having is more or less in the body where you demonstrate it. But the topic should not be given the sign of redundancy or given the sign of too wordy a topic. But anyway, hold it as it is. Maybe with time, you will understand it and probably maintain it or probably adjust it. Okay? So description of the area, for example, a scope of the study could be depending on the sampling unit of the study. Student must give brief description of the study area or study organizations. This section provides information about the characteristics of the study, areas of population, location, climate, socioeconomic activities. The scope is in Igbo society, is in Igbo states, right? It's also part of the scope. Another scope is that we are talking about traditional ruler. And also scope could also be, depending on how you put it, they're talking about security. And then your own is talking about diplomacy. Then you're talking about protest. And then you're talking about happening in the governance between social and so time. Description of the area organization is part of the scope. In case students are studying about institutions, information concerning target institution is inevitable. Such information may include organizational structure, mandates of respective institutions. You're limiting it to, let's say you're talking about CM University, then you limited it to MAPD. Inside the MAPD, maybe you are limited to a particular lecturer's method of teaching. So information includes organizational structure, mandates of respective institutions, established laws, a completely description of the study area organization is stated using present tense. Okay, now, in some cases, you might talk about CM University, but you're talking about MAPD. MAPD of what time to what time? Because MAPD of when I was the first student that enrolled is different and stopped in 2019. The program was closed. So you may even limit or delimit or maintain that their scope is between MAPD class of 2019 to 2024 or 2019 to 2021, those that have the ID 63. Then some of you now have the ID 2022 to 2024. And that's why you're doing foundation English. Are you getting the point here?
Yes, sir.
So things are not flatly the
They're
same.
the same. There's a change.
That's why in academic research, scope will enable you to get things sorted out. So, more questions? Any question?
No questions, sir. Clear.
Okay. If it is clear, wonderful. So, now can we get to literature review? So, literature review. I think you guys know this one very, very well. And then you understood it very clearly.
Yes, sir.
Literature review, the importance of literature review. No, I think the slide went up. A place to make connections between what you have been investigating and what has already been investigated in your subject area. Literature review is a place to make connections between what you have been investigating and what has already been investigated in your subject area. Do you understand this statement? Can you explain it for me?
For instance, you are writing, like you are writing on the topic on the roles of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in Southeast. So when you now come to the literature review, linking your literature review to also your objective and your research question, you have to look for literatures that said something relating to like the roles of traditional rulers in Nigeria, insecurity in Southeast Nigeria. You can also check literatures like solutions to insecurity in Nigeria. So when you now go through all these journals or previous researches that have talked about insecurity in Southeast Nigeria, and also the ones that also talked about the roles of traditional rulers, maybe in conflicts, negotiation, or their roles in a particular area in that Southeast. So you have to just try to summarize the research relating to what you are writing, which are very important, and quote it, then reference the person that wrote it. Or if you want to take something that somebody states, something relating to the roles of traditional rulers or insecurity, when you pick it out, you actually reference the person. So that's what it
Okay,
means.
so Chika, what have you to tell us about this? This very statement. A place to make connections. What is the literature review? Literature review is a place to make connections between what you have been investigating and what has already been investigated in your subject area.
Okay, it just in a simple term, you have to make connection between what you're investigating and what other people has investigated relating to your topic. So when you make a connection between the two, you now try to find out the loophole that those have already investigated it, what they left behind, and now fix it. In a
So,
simple
with the
term.
example of your topic, can you use your topic as an example to explain it to us? Use your topic.
In example of my topic,
What is that your topic?
exploring the role of diplomacy in transitioning from anti-government protests to reforms in Nigeria. Now, using this my topic.
So, can you tell us how a place, what is the literature review? A place to make connections between what you have been investigating, that your topic, and what has already been investigated in that your topic.
Yeah, I believe there are other people that have talked about protests and reforms. Okay, now I have to now look at what they have investigated based on concerning protests and reforms to see the loopholes, something that they left behind. From what they left behind, I will now have to talk about it in my own literature review.
Yeah, because probably they have not been able to attend to it, and that is why they are still protests, and that's why government is not listening.
Yes.
Maybe your paper will make the government to listen, and there won't be protests.
Problems again.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
So, in order to understand the problem at your hand, a researcher must obtain and extensively read several information, materials that relate directly to the topic under investigation, called literature review. It gives an overview of what has been said. That's exactly what we're talking about. I repeat, in order to understand the problem at your hand, a researcher must obtain and extensively read several information materials that relate directly to the topic under investigation, and that is what we call literature review. It's an overview of what has been said. I once gave an example, for example, on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. All of us here are Igbos, and we are from Nigeria as well. You want to write, let's say, a report about about Biafra. What are you going to do? Then you cannot just start writing about Biafra or just talking about only Biafra according to Nnamdi Kanu. You have to go and read books about Owazulike, Ojukwu. Yes, Ojukwu, because he was the one that actually started the entire process and the entire struggle. Then he was a champion. So you have to read more about Ojukwu. Read more about, after Ojukwu, the next person that resurrected the idea of a Biafran struggle is who? Do you remember? After Ojukwu, the next strong person that made it in Nigeria, after Ojukwu, Owazulike, correct. After Ojukwu, Owazulike. Then after Owazulike, who else? Correct. It doesn't mean that there are other people. There were other people that actually did something before Nnamdi Kanu. People like Zionists, they call them Zionists, I can't remember the name. Zionist group. And there were other people that had the Biafran in exile. Biafran government in exile, they had it. I remember someone in Spain, and they were having meeting all the time. Then they used Nigerian constitution, following Nigerian constitution, to come about what they called Spring Council of Elders, Belia Human Rights Initiative, other things. Many people have done a lot of things. So for you to write about that, you need to go and consult those people and make sure you consult whatever they have written, because we're talking about Biafra. Then Nnamdi Kanu now came. Because if you write only according to only Nnamdi Kanu side of the story, you may not get the... Even Nnamdi Kanu quotes those people as well. So that is what he's saying here. Literature review, very, very important. You cannot do without literature review in an academic writing. It's very, very important, because according to the Western educational system that gave us this kind of methodology in writing, you have to seek to know what has been done in order to make your own better. That is the logic. You have to carry out extensive information to know more about the theories and the debates going on regarding the topic and understand the specific nature of the problem in the academic literature. Is that clear? Any comment about this? Do you think it's clear enough? Just look at it. The topic about the role of traditional rulers. You have a lot to go and read. I don't know whether someone may have written something about it. I don't know. If someone has written anything, I don't know. But I know in the newspaper you see a lot of things, but you don't quote newspaper because it's an opinion. You see? And again, of course, you may see a lot of things about insecurity. But then having a role of traditional rulers, wahala, that one might give you some headache. But I believe some scholars or some students may have written something as well. Then your own is very easy because it's just general.
Yes.
A lot of materials are out there.
So
Diplomacy and harnessing protest, as you pointed out. Okay, so read in order to. So importance of literature review. Why do we need to do literature review in order to conduct research, your independent studies? Why? Or your thesis or dissertation, depending. To obtain detailed knowledge about the topic. Number one reason is to obtain detailed knowledge. You have to go to the library or academic journal to learn more about that thing you are talking about. To identify the gap of knowledge is investigated to establish new facts. Okay. If some people have written a lot of things about what you have written, but then the problem has not been solved, right?
Yes.
So you are there to identify the gap. You are there to identify areas they have not touched.
Talked about.
And that is why your paper is different. Let's say we are talking about, okay, as I said earlier, you are talking about Biafra situation. And then Ojukwu did all that he did. We didn't get Biafra. Wazirike did all that he did. We never got Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu is in jail. We never got Biafra. So you are writing the topic about Biafra. So it means that you must have to read thoroughly what these people may have done and offered, and try to find out areas that they may not have done well. That is why we have not gotten Biafra. Maybe after you must have investigated, examined, and then put that gap, fill that gap, then you may give us Biafra. Amen?
Amen.
So, gap. When you must have read all the topics, then you may discover a gap to offer an insight to the author's depth of knowledge in their field. So this gap will enable you to know, and having read this, you'll be able to know what you are going to, how you are going to tackle that topic in order to make your contribution very, very important. To help in circulating the latest information, review of literature helps students to find and use materials relevant to their studies, to review other students critically. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
We are not reviewing literature just to relax. No, we are reviewing literature to get more information and let our paper, make our own paper better than others. That is why we are reviewing the literature and nothing more. You get more knowledge. Look at what is put here by this man, Carl Sagan, Cosmos. You have to know the past to understand the present. Any comment, Henry? You have to know the past to understand the present.
Yes, because
In a relationship, even in a relationship, you jump into a relationship, you never ask the person what happened in his or her previous relationship. If you didn't ask, okay, no wahala, you will take it woto.
yeah, that's simply what it means. Like before you start doing a research, you must try to know what really happened in the past, or if you want to do like a literature review, you already have your topic. You also need to what? Seek ideas from what people have before, then check the missing gaps or informations that are there, and tend to try to fixing your own to solve that problem. So, like example you gave, before you go into a relationship, you have to ask about the person's life or something. Like in Igbo land, if you want to get married, your family have to
Ask questions.
ask questions. Ibanjo or something like that.
Yeah.
Make inquiries before the person can get married to the person. Even you as a person, before you get married, you have to check your blood type, something like that. So you have to reflect back for you to reference to get to what you are writing in the future, something like that. So the
Chika, do you agree
correct.
with all this?
No, nothing to. He has already said it. I just have to. In every writing, you must always go back to see what others have written. Then, with seeing what they have wrote, will enable you to know where you will come in. Because you cannot just write. No, you must look. They find the loophole and then see what you have to add from your own point.
Very good. You have to know the past to understand the present. That is all about literature review. Read, 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 read. Get the point, get the gap, and then fill it. Remember, when you are talking about literature review, these are the dangers you have to avoid. Avoid plagiarism. You know what is plagiarism, right?
Yes, sir.
Copying of another person's ideas, text, or other creative work and presenting it as one's own, especially without permission. I think Henry made it very clear before about referencing. Plagiarism is the act of presenting another's work or ideas as your own. You should avoid it in the literature review. Occurs when summarizing, paraphrasing, or citing common knowledge, facts, ideas, or words without giving credit to the person from whom you got the information. Warning: in academic writing, plagiarism is a serious offense. Therefore, it is in your best interest to learn citing skills. Hello?
Hi.
To avoid getting into trouble, then make sure you cite. Where to find research literature? The literature review is a gradual process that calls students to search, read, digest, and critically evaluate previous works of scholars that are related to their researches. Don't forget, not just reading everything, the one that relates to your topic. You see that? Primary sources of information. Sources of information. Interview, questionnaire, experiment, observation, written document, secondary sources of information, others. So now, please, can you tell me the difference between primary source and then secondary source?
Okay, now this is a kind of a format or a table that you need to set, a template you also need to set up for yourself while going for a literature review. You can say from the sources of information you have primary and secondary. Okay, primary is what, just like I told you, the experience of what I've seen, the protests have been going on in Nigeria for over the years. That is my primary source. All right. Then the secondary source are documents that have been written or any work that have been written concerning protest that has also happened in my country, because there are a popular protest happened so many years ago, even before I was born, about women riot. Those are documents as well. Okay, so you have to. They are secondary source. My primary source is what I've already experienced within myself within the period of years of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to date, and the secondary source is about women riot that happened before I was even born.
So are you now saying that those are not qualified to be your primary source?
Because I wasn't there when it happened, I never
The
experienced
fact that
it.
you are there or not, how come? Okay, Henry, what are we
That is why
The
you
fact
have
that-
for the fact that you are not there, you didn't see it occur, is not your primary source. It's your secondary source, because it's something that you never saw.
what determines primary source and secondary source?
Okay, what determines primary source, which is the main source, that this is what I saw, this is what motivated me to start writing this writing. Okay, now when you did it, let's like about women riot, I didn't see it. So
The fact that you didn't see, does it not make it
for
not
the
qualified
fact I
to be
didn't see,
primary?
it makes it qualified, but it doesn't make it qualified to be a motive for you to start writing your work, because you never saw it happen. So it will be your secondary
You
source.
see, sometimes you get it and then you use a word that make it scatter. The fact that you never saw it happen, does it disqualify it from being a primary source?
Yes, because it didn't give you it didn't motivate you in any way, because you never saw it happen. Yes,
Henry,
we can argue it. There's a difference between something that you saw happened than something that you read from someone.
Yeah, but the point is that you are saying that because you read it from someone, therefore it's not qualified to be primary source.
It's not that it should be your secondary source, because it did not motivate.
This should be is not my problem. My problem is that you are disqualifying it.
No, I am not disqualifying it. What I'm saying that is not. I'm talking based from my own perspective now, from my own opinion. I've read it, I've heard about it, but it never moved me, right? But what have happened over the period of year that I'm seeing with my two eyes happening is what moved me. That is my primary source.
I'm not disputing that, but I have problem when you now said because the ones that you weren't around, because you weren't around when those ones were written or when those ones happened, therefore they are not qualified to be a primary source. That's my confusion. Henry, do you have any solution to this?
My own observation, primary source of information and secondary source of information, both of them give the same, they give information about something. But the primary source aspects, like you talk about your personal experience, your personal observations also. Then on the secondary parts is reference to some academic research, which are related exactly towards what you are writing. That will tend to give you a result or try to correct or try to bring more ideas to a particular incident.
Yes.
Okay. Then on the primary aspect, it's just your experience. Okay, you saw something like this that happened. Okay.
See the same thing I was saying. You're not trying to construct it in.
No, that is his own. He's answering. He's answering. I'm the one to say it because he's answering the
Both of them are giving information.
Okay, now let me come in. Let me come in. I will not. I will come in because that's why we're in this class. I will not come in this way to say that what you said is not the correct answer, so that I will not destroy the good part of what you said. Primary source is also, in addition to what you said, my understanding of primary source is that I want to do a research about the culture of Igbo land. And the primary book I'm using, that is my main book, is Things Fall Apart. That is my primary source. Hello?
Hi.
I'm writing about Igbo culture or Igbo spirituality. And in this, my dissertation or thesis or independent studies, my main book that I consulted in the literature review, that I'm standing as my main book, that I'm reviewing, that I'm following the theory, the principles, the concepts, the ideologies, is from Things Fall Apart. That is my primary source in this paper. Then secondary source are other things. Secondary source could be other books, because you cannot only concentrate on one source. You might now bring in what all of you just contributed and said, which might include journals that you have consulted, the books that you may have read again. So in my reference, I might now come and say primary source. My primary source is this. Because that is what you see, chapter 1, chapter 2, I'm quoting them more. Because just like I'm reviewing what Things Fall Apart said, I can't be reviewing many books in my paper. Hello? That is why primary source is very important. I can't be reviewing so many books. Remember what we said earlier, literature review. Remember when I stopped in the beginning, I asked you that there's an announcement here. What are they announcing? And you guys, after sharing, I say it's announcing literature review. That even though it's important to go everywhere, but you have to make sure you situate your paper to a particular area. So in my primary source of my paper, in my independent studies, in my dissertation, my primary source could be, or primary sources could be 2 books or 3 books only. The rest, you might take them as secondary source. Think about what I'm writing, the topic. Don't think about you as an individual. Think about your guide. And the reason in an academic paper is because you cannot be reviewing all the books. You're talking about security. Come on, there are so many books in security. After you must have read all of them, you might take one as a standard book that is guiding you in your paper. It becomes your primary source. The rest are secondary. Hello? And that one either 1 or 2 or 3 that are your primary sources, you will see more of them in your paper. Because they are the ones where you got the theory. And that is where you can also formulate your theoretical framework and conceptual framework. Because you cannot get your theoretical framework from so many other sources, right? Not possible. You are concentrating a particular primary source from where you now develop your own conceptual framework, and not in every book you have consulted. Okay, Chika. Have you gotten it, or you have something to add?
Yeah, I got what you're saying, but can we say that primary source differs from individual? Differs from individual, because you are now breaking it down that your primary source you should have a book.
Maybe this will help you as you keep on going. Okay.
A book, okay, that will give you a guideline, right?
And including the experience you mentioned. But that experience is not what you put in an academic writing. It could be something else. But just give a look at the board here. Primary source of information, others' experience, and my own experience. So
now, well spelled out. The previous.
Be careful, because I'm talking about academic writing. My own experience might be the book I've written. So, and then you yourself is a primary source. But when you want to put in a bibliography, don't forget you cannot put my experience in bibliography.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
That tells you what we're talking about. So, but the point is that you're not excluded from the primary source in terms of you that is writing the thing. But we're talking about academic system of academic writing, other experience. Just understand the way I put it. There should be a particular book that you used, where you created your theoretical framework. Then, it depends on research too. There's a particular research that your primary source is because you went to the zoo, right? You went to the zoo. Your primary source is the particular zoo you went to. And then what you documented, documentary research. You get that? So that's why you see something like their own experience. You went to the zoo. You went and saw the women dancing. Just as you mentioned. That's why I told you guys, don't throw away what you said, but understand it in this way so that you get it, you won't get confused if you go elsewhere and you're asked about that, and then you keep maintaining what you just said. So you went and interviewed an Igwe, right? That Igwe is not written in a book. Do you understand? But somebody may have written it in a book without you going to Igwe. You now read the book and use the book as a primary source. But imagine if you have gone to, you didn't see any book, you consulted, that becomes also your primary source. But I just want you guys to understand primary source in what you are writing is where did you get the basic theory, the basic information of that particular paper. And just understand the context, the concept. Hello?
Yeah, we're cleared.
Yeah, so that's why you see here other experience, interview, experiment, my own observation, and the questionnaire I took to so many people. Your own experience is not what you put there. What you're going to put there is your questionnaire. My primary source here is questionnaire. My primary source is the observation I did in the zoo. Then if you're talking about the interview I conducted, an experiment conducted. I hope I'm bringing it down.
Yes,
so
sir.
primary source is the main direction of your paper, of your literature. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other thing?
No,
That
sir.
is why we're actually here today. So, literature helps students to find and use materials relevant to their studies. These materials may be found in articles, journals. Some people, their primary source might be only articles. Primary source might be only journals. Previous studies, dissertation works of another person in another university might be their primary source. Newspaper comments, but this one I am reserved. Letters written and kept in archives and magazines. Yeah, it depends. A lot of them from Socrates and Plato. Secondary sources of information. You see that? Articles in Scholar Journal, the same thing, repeated the same thing. But for you to understand the difference is the main key here. Books, electronic sources, dissertation work, it repeated the same thing. You know, what makes it primary? It depends on you and your base and foundation of your literature. Government document, some other person, this government document might be the primary source. But here, it is listed as possible secondary source. Reports and presented papers and newspaper and magazine. So, ways to use secondary literature review. Paraphrase. A restatement of a text giving the meaning in another form to avoid plagiarism. Rewrite. A brief statement of the main points of the something. A quote. Repeat or copy out original words from a text or speech written or spoken by another person and putting them in quotation mark, inverted comma, open and close. Don't copy words directly from sources. Be sure to cite your sources. Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
How to paraphrase in literature review. A rewriting of a specific passage from someone else. You have to rewrite. That is paraphrase. Rewrite. It is written in your own word without changing the original meaning or removing any information. Now, may I ask you, when you paraphrase, do you need to cite or quote?
Sometimes your paraphrasing might still mean same thing, so you need to quote.
Henry?
When you paraphrase,
Mm.
I think you need to cite the person.
Perfect. So, but remember, first of all, ask what is paraphrase? To paraphrase means to rewrite of a specific message from someone else. It is written in your own word without changing the original meaning or removing any information. You said the same thing. So the best thing academically to quote, don't claim it belongs to you.
So when you quote the person, you have to put
Yeah, that is if you put the entire work indexed, maybe you put the direct quotation, then you put inverted comma, open and close. If you didn't, you now say Okafor, comma, 2018, comma, page. Because you paraphrased already everything in that page, but you didn't quote the page. But you now gave where you got the idea.
that's citation. Now you cite the person.
Yes.
You said when you paraphrase, you
Mm.
said quotes, and I said cite. So
Cite is the citation to reference someone.
Yes, like when
that
I
is Okafor. I am Okafor, comma. 1998. I wrote the book, comma, page 2.
Like now, I copied something that you wrote now. Obi is a boy. Then I copied it like,
That is direct quotation.
yes, that Obi is a boy. I paraphrased it and said, a male guy, Obi. Do I have to put, then a male guy, Obi, then I will now write,
If you use the
brackets.
same word, we will st- I will
didn't
still,
use the
we will
same
still
word.
talk about it. You didn't use the same word, right?
not the same word,
Then you
but
don't need to put a inverted comma, you don't, because you paraphrased it.
yes, I paraphrased
You paraphrase it already with your own word, but the same meaning. Then you cite to make it academic.
Yes, that's what.
But what makes it academic is that somebody is seeing that you are citing, referencing. Okay. Check, are you there? Easy steps of paraphrasing. Read it several times, note down the key concepts, write down own version, compare the text, cite the source. Hello? Are you still there? You see what he's saying about paraphrasing? Read it several times, note down the key concepts, write your own version, compare the text, cite the source. Don't forget we are still in literature review, trying to let you know how to avoid. Literature review doesn't mean copy what somebody has written to make it your own. No. If you want, you must cite the person, you must quote the person. Then if you paraphrase, that's what they say. If you have written it again or repeated what the person in your own words, then cite the source. Okafor, comma, 1998, comma, page 2. Without quotation, but then you cited. I don't know if you're having problem with quotation and citation.
No, understand now.
Citation is that who said it, the year, surname of the person. Anyway, we'll still talk about it. Surname of the person, the year, and the page. But quotation is when you go direct, bringing direct.
But when you're adding the date and the page, it has to be on the reference side, right?
What do you mean? Inside the work. Inside the work.
If I copy now, I write Oka for 2000 and
You have to give, after writing what he said, you have to put a bracket and write.
That one is quotation. You are quoting the person.
Exactly.
But different from citation. Citation is that you have rewritten. Citation could be that you have rewritten, you have repeated what he said, the same idea, the same contribution the person made, and you read from him. Then you now give us the name of the person, the year, and the page. If you don't have the page, sometimes there's no page, no problem, but at least there's the year and the name.
Yeah, that's because we are saying page.
Page is very, very important. That shows that you read their primary sources with you, because you now saw the page, but you cannot be putting everything.
But if you don't put the page where sometimes people don't put the page there, they put at the reference part of it.
No, reference is about bibliography, where you put every information about that Okafor, because there are so many Okafor, but the Okafor you are talking about is now Emmanuel Nweke Okafor. You now put the title of the book, you put where the book was published, you put the year it was published, and then you put all the required information. That is what you put in bibliography. Nowadays, mostly called reference. That's the last page.
Because most books I read, they just write the person's name and the year.
Yeah, because they are using that format.
The new format.
They're using the format.
The normal.
But the proper format, but the format often is updated.
Yeah, it's
but
changed.
Someone like me, I will only put the page so that I will direct you to the page I'm talking about. You go straight, you go to the page. That is why primary source is very important, because if I'm using this primary source, I'm the owner. I've read this book to and fro. So there are places I've written all over again. I've rewritten it. Then I will now just quote the particular page. It makes it more academic. But not every book, not every journal, because some people are confused about pages, so they ignore the page. And you might get certain things, but it doesn't have page. Tips for paraphrasing. Reuse key terms, use new language, use synonyms, change the sentence structure, break up long sentences into shorter ones. You see how to paraphrase. How to quote literature review. Quote, repeat or copy out original words from a text or speech written or spoken by another person and putting them in quotation mark. That is quote. Excuse me. Remember, I was trying to ask you the difference, whether you're having problem with difference between citation and quotation. So do you know the difference? Citation and quotation.
Quotation, if you are copying verbatim from you just read the quote and then put every details about that particular quotation.
Exactly. That just as you say, repeat or copy out original words from a text or speech written or spoken by another person and putting them in a quotation mark. Inverted comma, open and close. Why should you use quotes? Use the original wording. It's essential to reflect the author's message. If the quote is well known or difficult to paraphrase, when you should use quotes. If the quotes are from an authority, lend direct support to your ideas. Example, you see that? Cite authors correctly. Yes, I can do. Who said it? Sameko. Which year? 2021. You get that? Which one is quotation here and which one is citation in this for example number 4? In this figure, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that number 4, what can you tell me which one is quotation and which one is citation?
Number 1 is
I mean number 4. Look at number 4. Tell me what is quotation there and what is citation there?
Yes, I can do is a quotation now. Then the citation is Semaco 2021.
Yeah, you get that? Because I was confused when I don't know whether you understand. You're confusing between quotation and citation. Citation is that name of the person and blah 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 blah, and the quotation is giving inverted comma, open and close. Then yes, I can do.
Then another thing I want to ask is, if you were saying something, if you copy something that somebody said and paraphrase it, will you still put quotation on it?
There's no quotation again because you have paraphrased it. That's why I'm asking to know whether you have problem.
You don't need to cite the person.
You just cite. Now look at what you're going to do.
No, the first question you asked us.
Look at this one. Quotation, then you cited him. But if you now paraphrase this one, you don't need to put inverted comma and praise because it's now your word. Repeating exactly, giving the same meaning of the person. The only thing you have to do in that case is to cite, only citing, no longer quotation when you paraphrase. Because I've already paraphrased it.
Yes, it's the English that he used that was confusing me. Because the question he asked is, when you said something and they paraphrased it, he said you quote the person. And I said you cite the person. It's the same thing.
Again, let me get you clear.
Before you started this, you asked a question.
Yes.
Assuming you copy something from somewhere and you paraphrase the person's sentence,
yep.
What will you do? I said citation and he said you quote the person. So now I was now like, okay, if you said exactly what the person said, yes, you quote the person, but you have to put a comma, right?
Correct. Inverted comma, open and close, not comma.
Yeah, you have to put a quotation mark. That's what is what.
Then cite the person.
Then cite.
You have two missions there.
Then the question you actually asked was, when you copy and paraphrase, you just have to cite the person.
Yes, when you paraphrase, because you have already paraphrased.
Yes, he said.
You are no longer using the quotation.
He said you quote the person. That's the confusion I've been having.
Oh,
So
I
you made a
see.
mistake.
Okay.
That was actually confusing me.
Okay. So you don't need to quote when you paraphrase.
Yes.
But then, some people might still, after paraphrasing, they support the paraphrasing they did with quotation.
Okay.
Depends on your methodology of writing. You are saying something you read from a particular book of a person. You are analyzing everything the person must have written. You are examining and investigating and arguing about that. You have already used your own words in doing them. At the same time, added the direct quotation and citation.
Yeah.
Are you there? Sure? Okay. What is the text citation? An in-text citation, said in-text, an in-text. An in-text citation is the brief form of the reference that you include in the body of your work. It gives enough information to identify the source in your reference list. Do you get that? Inside what you are writing, just
Yes.
as what we just said now.
Yes, 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 I understand it.
So that the grammar will not confuse us. Igbo people say no Igbo biala. Oyibo biala abịa. If I ka anyị na-etigbu ebe a, the more ị nọ na Bangkok, the more ị nọ na Thailand, the more oyibo ga-etipịa. Unu nwe ka bịasị abịasị, ekwesịrị ịga na-amụta oyibo n'ebe unu na-achụ azụ. Because mmụọ nke m anago mgbuka. Okay. Example of in-text citation. The author's last name and the year of publication include the page number as well. For example, Sameko 2020, page 143. Are you there?
Yes.
Have you seen what we're talking about? In-text citation. The author's last name, this one, and the year of the publication, this one, include the page number as well, this one. Remember, page point 142. Imagine if I copied 2 pages. What do I do here? 2 pages.
Okay, 2 different pages.
Yeah, imagine if I cited him in 2 different pages.
Page point 143, another page number again.
Okay. So, it should be like this. Imagine, should be like this. P, bomb. Are you there? 143 to 144.
I was thinking. Yep,
Yes. PP.
Okay, double P.
Maybe that's why you guys, maybe you didn't listen to Pastor Gosley's presentation. If you had paid attention to it, you would, but don't worry. If you run away from that, all those videos, you watch it by force this time around. Because I will give you that and then give you test on that. So make sure you watch it. Because Pastor Gosley did a marvelous presentation on that. So you see, the author's last name, this one.
But they're no more using
Comma.
this. They're no more using these methods now.
Who says so?
Like APS style 6, 7. I think some
Yeah,
of them
they update all the time, but no more using doesn't mean good things.
Yeah, it's good, but old fashioned now.
No. This is the best actually, because you are directly telling the person where to go and get it.
So even if you use this one in this present year,
I can't write anything myself without putting this. Unless if I don't have the page. Because as an academic, you should be able to make it easier for this person reading your book to know where he will get it. So the author's last name, then remember comma. Do you remember comma?
yeah.
and then the age, comma, the page. But because it's one page only. But if there are 2 pages, then like here, PP.
Some people will only write the person's name, put bracket and the year now.
Yes, yeah. Some people are like just here. Some people end here. It's also
Yes, I know
okay.
it's correct.
Depending on your format. In most of my works, I would like to go complete. Book citation, you see, this one is the one where you were asking author last name, initials only for the first and middle names, publication year, book title, in italics, capitalize only the first word of the title and subtitle and proper noun, place of publication, publisher. Are you guys there?
Yes.
You see that? This, where do you get this one? In your reference at the last
Last
part of, remember author's last name, initial, the year. I think something is wrong here. There should be full stop here. Intensive English grammar course, full stop, and Quran Printing Center. You see that? Abdullahim Sameko. Thank you. So I give you another 5 minutes before I think we may not be here tomorrow. So I give you another 5 minutes to brush up, and unless if you want us to come back again tomorrow. You're welcome, and we continue from where we stopped. So now I would like us to I would like us to look into qualitative versus quantitative research. So let me ask you, what do you understand by that concept, Chika? We're in the class again, so please can you pay attention? So can you just explain to us what you understand by qualitative and quantitative research? Just use your knowledge, don't look at my PowerPoint.
No, I'm not looking at it. It's just that okay. Qualitative is just analyzing example literature works. Okay, then quantitative is when you have actually carried out the work, like using your questionnaire and whatever interviews and all that, then trying to arrive at a particular. So that is quantitative.
That is what?
Quantitative.
Quantitative, by analyzing. Quantitative is analyzing.
No. Like using I use questionnaire as an example. Statistics. All right. Using statistics to arrive at a particular conclusion, and then qualitative is like using literature review to get a clear picture of what you're writing.
Okay, so Henry, what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative?
From my own point of view, when you talk about qualitative research, it simply explains getting information through by interpreting previous journals or interviewing people. Then when you talk about quantitative, it simply involves like a practical. You must carry out a practical using instruments in order to get a result of something. But qualitative is you get your information basically from interviewing people and interpreting previous literature works. So the two different things is like mostly the other one is mostly carried out by qualitative. Quantitative is mostly carried out in, let me say, science aspects of education. Why this one is mostly social sciences. Qualitative is social sciences.
Okay, so you guys have gotten few ideas. So qualitative, look at what I put in there. If you are engaged in qualitative research, you are intending to understand and interpret social interactions. That's exactly what your topic is all about. As a matter of fact, your topic might be here. Understanding and interpreting social interactions. In this case, you are trying to talk about the traditional rulers and occurrences in a society.
Yes.
So most likely, your independent studies will attend to this. Then, on your own case, remind me of your topic again.
Exploring diplomacy.
Uh-huh. The word explore, something like that, and the other things. You may likely find yourself here, the role of diplomacy, and then you made mention of protest.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if care is not taken, you find yourself in statistical kind of analysis. So qualitative is, in terms of group, is smaller. Then quantitative, in terms of group, is larger and randomly. Just like taking, you want to know why certain things are being done in a group or in a society or in a classroom. So you needed to know whether one thing leads to the other, whether one thing relates to the other. The reason why this is done, that is why the result of this is this causes this, and this is the result, cause and effect. So variable, studying the whole, not variable. Qualitative will study everything about the society, goes into the society, looks at the society, without presenting variable. But then quantitative specific variables are studied. They just pin a particular thing and start investigating on it. I am one of my YouTube videos. I made mention of, let's say the student got F in a classroom. Why? Then quantitative would like to know the number of the students that actually got F, the number of students that actually got A, and would like to investigate. In this, as the quantitative investigates, it plus charts something in order to know whether the reason why they got F was it because they visited a party. They went to party at night. So they want to know how many people went to party at night. And among the people that went, the number that went to party at night, whether that number correlates or are the same number that got F. You see, he will pick a particular thing and try to do a thorough investigation in order to get, because he wants to solve the problem immediately or give the information immediately. But that is not the same qualitative. Qualitative will get into words, images, or objects. For example, that people fail the class. He would like to know, he will try to know the situation of the classroom, the condition of the lecturer, the things that were the items or materials and things that are used in the class, what may have brought about that. And then probably to know whether the teacher is well read or not. And then begin to check whether the teacher is qualified or not. You see? So, then in forms of data collection, qualitative and open responses, interview, participant observations, field notes and reflections. I want to situate you with your topic. You get into, you start, you read, you have read the books, and you are using the books to analyze the situation of unrest in the Southeast based on the books, or based on you are going to meet some people. Of course, interview is also part of it. But the point is that here, in quantitative, it's about measurement.
Yes.
What the number of uncertainty you are talking about, the insecurities you are talking about, how many, which time, who are involved, how many people involved, when, at what time and what time is insecurity in the day. You see, it goes into measurement using structured or validated data collection instruction. So types of data here, identify patterns, features, themes, and this one, statistics and relationship. So what are we trying to say? In your paper, we are involved with qualitative and quantitative, as you said, number. So most of our papers in this department is qualitative because we're talking about sociology. We're talking about people's way of life. We're talking about culture. We're talking about feeling and thinking of people. And then you are situating it into words. So mostly it's qualitative. So if you look at it, you may be able to get some clue about qualitative and quantitative. But major thing is that qualitative words, written books, you can use it to get to the answer. But quantitative, no. Number, statistics, measurement, figures. Okay, now objective and qualitative research is, the objective of qualitative research is subjective. Quantitative research is objective. Now tell me, why? Let me know if you can get it. The objective of qualitative research is subjective. Objective of quantitative research is objective. One is subjective, one is objective. Now tell me, what does that mean?
When you talk about subjective,
Are you with the mic?
yes, when you
Okay.
talk about subjective under qualitative, it's like, let's say what you are like expected result. But when you talk about quantitative, which is what objective, like it's critical minded because there is a practical that must be conducted to get your answer. There must be a practical or there must be an experiment that is carried out to get the actual answer. But the other one, which is qualitative, is you are reading and interpreting words which have been given by people, relating it to what you are doing. But quantitative, there must be a practical and statistic verifications to get down to your answer. That is why it's always objective.
Now, Chika. Okay, it looks like you're no longer around,
Yeah,
but we must move on.
my brain is about to shut down.
Okay, yeah, we can wake it up. Subjective and objective. Why? Qualitative is subjective and quantitative is objective.
Okay, just like I've earlier stated, that it's all about uh, literature reviews as being subjective, something that you will write on, all right? But being objective, that is critically looking at it, you must practicalize it. You must go into practical. Try to, if let's say you want to get a number of a specific something that happened. So you must use an objective method to get that particular responses. So that is the
Okay, now hold on to your answers and then add it to this one. Objective and subjective. Qualitative research is about individual. Myself wrote a paper. I wrote something about traditional rulers, and you read it and used it to support your literature. I mean, as a literature review, to write what you are writing. Understand? It's just from me. You are using what the research I did. That is, subjective means individual. So you just base on my own. And I'm entitled to it. And sometimes I may be wrong, but then you are still using it. But the one thing with objectivity is that, Henry, you conducted the result, the statistic, you measured it. Then, Chika, you got one answer. Chika measured it, did the same thing, got the same answer. And I also did it and got the same answer. What does that tell you? It means that it's just objective. That is why it's not by emotion, it's not by individual thing, because this person did and replicated it, and then I did the same thing. We just got the same, all of us got the same answer. That's why it's objective. Is that clear?
yes, sir.
But then qualitative is just individual opinion. Role of a researcher. In a qualitative, researcher and their biases may be known to participants in the study. Yes, of course. By the time you are, since you are writing my book, if I'm a pastor, you have already known I'm a pastor. I know that I'm writing from the point of view of a pastor. Do you understand?
Yes.
And participant characteristics may be known to the researcher. Yes, of course, you came to me and I gave you my book. But then in quantitative, sometimes it might be an organization, they assign me to do something. There's a double blind study. They didn't tell me. And I didn't even tell the students that I should conduct the research with. Are you getting the connection?
Yes.
Maybe the president of Sierra needed something from me. He didn't tell me his intention. He didn't tell me what it was. But then he couldn't reveal it to me. And myself, I couldn't even reveal it to students that I was using to conduct the research. That's double blind. To avoid what? Bias. To make sure that you come up with something tangible. Then in terms of result in qualitative is particular, specialized finding that is less generalized. Yes, of course, I am the one, individual. I wrote a book, and that is all about me. But then quantitative, generalizable finding that can be applied to other populations. Yes, because this is about all African students in Thailand. You did the research, got the same result. You did the research, got the same result. I did the research. So we can use it now irrespective of the university. But qualitative might be in the university, only one. You cannot use it elsewhere because it's coming from me, my impression of the students. That is all about me. That may not be applicable elsewhere. I don't know if you guys are getting the point.
Yes, sir.
Scientific method. In a qualitative is exploratory and bottom-up. The researcher generates a new hypothesis and theory from the data collected. But then quantitative, confirmatory, top-down. The researcher tests the hypothesis and theory with the data. You see? In terms of scientific method, you lubricate the same thing, the same result. Then you now say objective. But then, in terms of qualitative, it's not like that. It's just the same thing, the kind of mindset of you have written, this person have written, individuals you got together, and then you analyze it. Okay, view of human behavior. In terms of qualitative, dynamic, situational, and social construct. You're talking about society, and you're analyzing society. But in terms of quantitative, it's regular and predictable. because result could be repeated and the same result will come out of it. Most common research objectives in terms of criteria: explore, discover, and construct. Then quantitative: describe, explain, and predict, because it's certain. Put it to you that quantitative mostly could be certain, but qualitative could be open-ended. It could be certain and could not. Okay, so before Sheikha will die here, when to use quantitative and qualitative and quantitative. Using quantitative analysis works better if you want to confirm or test something. Have you seen that? Using quantitative, you want to test something. Why did they get the student that failed my class? You want to be sure whether it is because they went to course and road, or it's because the teacher is a bad teacher. You want to be sure whether they went to club the night before the exam. You have to check number that failed and the number that went to that club. So you want to test something. Using qualitative research works better if you wish to understand something. But then, in terms of understanding why they fail, you may like to know whether his teacher is not a good teacher and they run away. They didn't want to even confront the teacher. They didn't want to even attend classes because the teacher is not teaching well. Qualitative will tell you that about concept, thoughts, and experience. Okay. The type you want depends on whether you are taking an inductive or deductive research approach. Your research questions whether you are doing experimental, correlational, or descriptive research and other considerations such as money, time, availability of data. So whichever one you are using depending on you. Which one are you using, Cheka? Qualitative or quantitative?
Qualitative.
So you're only reading a book and analyzing a book. Okay. Henry, which one? Well, why are you running away from quantitative? Use qualitative research to develop an initial understanding of an issue or problem. You get that? The one you mentioned is an issue or problem. The one you mentioned is an issue or problem. Look for a range of ideas and feelings about something. You want to get something about people, and you are choosing it because of our department. In engineering department, no way.
No, you cannot.
Medical department, no way. Even MBA department, no way. Understand different perspectives between groups or categories of people. Why government are punishing protesters and why there is a diplomacy. I mean, there are things you are mentioning there. So that's what we want to understand and then project it. And then in your own case about the Igwes, the traditional rulers, security, and the people in the village. Provide information needed to design quantitative study. Explain findings from quantitative study. Yeah. Even if you are using quantitative is there, you still use words to explain it in your own, in the other side. So quantitative recommend a final course of action because it's objective. You got the same result, you got the same result, I got the same result. So there's nothing again. This is the cause of this. Find whether there is consensus on a particular issue. Yes. Provide result to a larger population. Identify evidence regarding cause and effect relationships. Describe characteristics of relevant groups of people. Test specific hypotheses and examine specific relationships. Identify and size market segments. Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So these are the differences about quantitative and qualitative. There is a component, goals, 5 essential components. So let's look at the goals of 2 of them: conceptual framework, research question, method, and validity of the 2 of them. Now let's get to qualitative research. The goal of qualitative research: why is your study worth doing? That is the goal. You have to explain. Why do you want to conduct this research? You have to tell us. And why should we care about the result? You see why in every department, it depends on the department. So the goal of qualitative, asking these questions. Then in terms of conceptual framework for the qualitative, what do you think is going on with the issue? Just like your topic. What do you think is the setting or people you plan to study? What theories, beliefs, and prior research findings or personal experiences will guide or inform your research? You see that? So all of us in this department are mostly qualitative. Then in terms of research question in qualitative, look at it. What specifically do you want to understand by doing this research? What do we know about what the phenomena under consideration? What questions will your research attempt to answer, and how are they related to one another? The methods in qualitative, what will you actually do in this study? What method will you use to collect and analyze your data? These are questions, of course, you guys have already had it in your own, because it is in social sciences. Validity, how can you ensure that the data you collect will address your research questions? When you're going for interview or you're reading the book, how is it going to attend to your research question? How is it going to yield correct and defensible answers to these questions? How are they going to apply to the larger population or persons of interest? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, so look at it. Qualitative research method originated in the social and behavioral sciences. Today, our world is more complicated and it's difficult to understand what people think about life and what they perceive about life. So research method originated in social and behavioral sciences. You see that? Behavior. These are kind of department you use this kind of method. Then qualitative, okay. One-on-one interview. In this process, this is all about personal interview which is carried out with one respondent at a particular time. Focus groups. Focus group includes few respondents from within the targeted market. These groups find out answers to what, why, and how things happen. Do you know what is a one-on-one interview? Do you know what that means?
One-on-one interview. Yes, we are. Yeah, with the person that you're interviewing.
Okay, what about focus groups?
Group might be like, let's say you, what's it called again? Creating a questionnaire and share to the group. It's not a must, you must meet everybody. You just gather.
Focus group. Let me just.
Gather their
Focus group. Just like, let me use the topic I'm writing. My focus group is embassy, some government officials. Those are my focus group.
How
Okay.
about the protesters?
Also, some people.
Where are you going to get all of them?
What?
Where are you going to get all the protesters?
No, you cannot get all the protesters. It's a selected few. Just maybe 1 or 2 person that you just send a message across to respond to and then have an interview. So those are your focus group.
Do you agree with that?
How will you get enough data to cover the protesters? How will you do that?
You don't need to interview everybody.
How will your answer will not be authentic?
No, it will. You are the one carrying out the research. You need to select few. Okay, if you are saying you want to go and gather all.
You see the danger of your topic. Protesters. This question might be looking so simple for you, but
That's
very,
what I was
very.
asking. You are meant to gather all those people. You have to create a
In order to make it credible and reliable, your focus group should also be credible and reliable. See, because you are broadly talking about Nigeria as a whole.
I'm already talking about Nigeria as a whole. but I'm not talking about. I have nothing to interview with the protesters.
So which means you may not engage in focus group. You just do read the book, what you think about it, and analyze it.
No, brother, I've already told you my focus group, but mainly my focus is on diplomacy.
But how can it be only diploma when you're talking about protest? How can it be only them? You are very correct. You are very correct in that. You are very correct in that. That focus group diplomats. But then don't forget the protest was in Nigeria and not in abroad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't focus on the embassy. Well, the foreign affairs are also in Nigeria. You have to also meet them. You have to also meet some top government officials. Some government officials, like head of.
Very
civil
easy
servant.
to say because that's one thing about research.
It's not easy because I already have someone in civil servant that you
So
can
which
just.
means you are biased already.
I am not biased. Don't put words into my mouth.
Yes,
I'm not. I'm not
If you
biased.
limit it to the people that you know, then that means the result will be biased result.
I cannot limit it to the people that I know, but they can as well help me to get in touch to the people that I want to actually speak with.
Then how would you get the protesters?
Remember, this is about exploring the role of diplomacy in transitioning, moving from anti-government protests to reforms. So it has really nothing to do with protesters.
Yeah, the fact that you are emphasizing transition, it doesn't provide focus group for you. All this, that's why I said the topic should be revisited. Why everything you say is in the body, why the topic make it simple, so that we know. You see that? Because focus group, whether you like it or not now, how would you, because you cannot attend to this without even attending to protesters, where will you get them? But if you reframe the topic will give you a leeway in order to handle it better. But anyway, your focus group, the one we mentioned, is okay, but then don't worry how the protesters are being considered. Because you are writing something related to people who may have protested, and you need to listen to them. Anyway, keep thinking about that. Ethnographic research is part of qualitative. This one studies people in their own natural environment and is considered as a depth observational method. Case study research, a case study of Southeastern insecurity. That's what you are taking. And then you are a case study of transition or what?
What again?
The role of diplomacy.
Yeah, the role of diplomacy in transitioning from anti-government protest to reform.
This this topic must be revisited. Okay, case study. Most important is a case study of Nigerian. You are using Nigeria as a case study.
Yeah, Nigeria.
Okay, so sometimes you see something like record keeping and processing observation, and then thank you very much for this particular. So I would like to get from you as a summary, what do you think is the difference between qualitative and research and quantitative? And then don't forget there's also mixed research in which you use both qualitative and use both quantitative. Hello?
Hi.
So can you now give me a summary again so that we round it up?
Okay. Quantitative have to do with statistics, and qualitative has to do with interpretation, looking at some books to arrive at your conclusion. Thank you.
So Henry, summarize this topic.
When you talk about qualitative, simply your data are being gotten from already written journals, and what the data you get from your qualitative is mostly a subjective result, while for the quantitative research, you always obtain an objective result, right? And most social sciences, most social sciences always sometimes carry out qualitative research. Most science and pure science carry out quantitative research. Thank you.
Okay, so now the next topic before we call it off for today, we have only two topics left. Writing a strong statement to highlight the purpose of your essay. Your thesis statement should be original. So the topic is about thesis statement. I hope I'm getting it. Your thesis statement should be? Yes, thesis statement. You know what is thesis statement? What is the difference between thesis statement and the significance of the study? Thesis statement. Can you give me an example of thesis statement? That's the new topic now. What is thesis statement? You have been to police before to make a statement. Have you been to the police to make a statement? Okay, that's the closest example. You are writing a thesis. So what is the thesis statement? Your thesis statement. Henry, can you help us? Your thesis statement.
I'm looking for example to use to classify.
You don't even need an example. If you understand it, it doesn't need an example. Then thesis statement.
I can't recall actually.
Just a statement that you make even before you start writing.
Are you guessing? Give him to tell us what he said. Are you guessing?
I'm not guessing. I'm trying to construct it because, like I said, my is going. So it's a statement that you make. A statement that you make before you think of starting to write your research.
So, Henry, do you agree with that? What is thesis statement?
When you said example, when you say like thesis statements, like CM students are not good in English.
But we are good in English now.
Yes, I know we are good in English. You are giving an example, not.
Okay, it's better you clarify.
It's an example.
Yeah, I think you guys got it very correct. It's the main power, your main rationale. What is your topic?
Exploring the role of diplomacy in
Yeah, exploring the role of diplomacy and whatever. Just
transitioning from anti-government protest.
okay. So now your statement could be transitioning from blah 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 through democracy will solve the problem. I don't know whether you get the point. Transitioning from, I don't know your topic, but just to make a statement that's very bold.
Transitioning from anti-government protest to reform through democracy
Is the best form of governance. Something like that. That is a statement that becomes a thesis statement. Involving the traditional rulers in the security issues in Southeast would be the best way
to solve
to solve the security issue.
Insecurity.
You see that? That is the statement. You get that?
Yes.
Sometimes some people in the introductory paragraph, I mean the chapter 1, they will summarize that particular 1.1 with thesis statement. Because there's a way you'll be arguing your points and you end up finalizing it as a conclusive statement, as a thesis statement in that 1.1. Okay, each word in the statement must serve a purpose. Make sure that the statement is short but powerful to shape the theme, the topic. You get that?
Yes.
The statement must be powerful to shape your topic. Somebody asks you, what are you, then you say the topic. As soon as you say your topic, then what's the thesis statement? Thesis statement just around that your topic, what you will argue. Because transitioning blah, 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 blah is the best form of governance that will make the people happy. Then using the traditional ruler because they deal directly with people will be the best way to solve the insecurity. After governor has tried, but he couldn't.
Yes, I understand.
So that is a statement. I just look at it. Make sure they get the idea in a clear and detailed manner. You see that? Thesis statement. In a clear and detailed manner. The thesis statement must grab the reader's attention. Is that, do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Straight, bam. You just capture it. That is your author statement. Can I use the word author statement? Author statement. Thesis statement. Assess the impact of the thesis statement beside the message it delivers. The message you are delivering is that diplomacy can do this and help to make this happen. The message you are delivering, Henry, is that traditional rulers, once involved in security situations in
The community.
in Southeast, then there will be peace. Even sit at home will go away. And there will be no unknown gunmen. Thank you. To thesis statement, can you now, I ask you back again, what is thesis statement? Let's start all over again. Now, let me know if you've gotten it.
Okay, thesis statement is a strong statement that you make to enable you convince your reader about what you're writing about.
Perfect.
A thesis statement is a statement you made relating to your topic at the beginning of or in the introduction of your research that tend to convince the reader about your topic.
Perfect.
For example, when you say the roles of traditional rulers in fighting insecurity in the southeast region of Nigeria, then you can actually brief your thesis statement to be the involvement of traditional rulers will help to solve insecurity in the southeast region of Nigeria.
Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Very, very good. Well put. Okay, this might be the final for today. Chika, are you there? Are you bookable where now? I'm going to bookable where yeah, this is the difference between theoretical framework and conceptual framework. You guys have done this before, and I would like you to tell me, Chika, okay, what's the difference between theoretical framework and conceptual framework? If your head is not here, bring it back. Thank God I'm older than you. So, far older than you, so I should be the one getting too exhausted. Okay, so tell me. Differences between theoretical framework,
remember this.
and conceptual framework. Or do we start with Henry? Okay, let's start with Henry.
So I can't remember, but let me try.
Oh, you can't remember? Or is it you are tired or because of time or whatever? Okay, the difference between differences or difference, whichever one, whether singular or plural, between theoretical framework and conceptual framework.
I think let me try about theoretical framework. For instance, when you are doing a research and you go through the literature review of someone of another research paper, you tend to get like the theoretical method the person used in, maybe if your topic, because of my topic insecurity, you try to capture the theoretical method the person used in writing his own research. Then when you're writing yours, you also quote that the theoretical method from so place about the insecurity. I think that's the only part I can remember.
Okay, if I can remember, theoretical framework is the theory that you use, like for example, Karl Marx theory. Okay, Karl Marx theory for theoretical framework, and
And what happened?
I'm trying to bring my brain for conceptual.
So what happened? Theoretical framework is that particular theory you looked at in order to write your paper. Because every paper is supposed to anchor on a particular theory. So you're looking at that theory in order to write your own. Then conceptual work is your own, which the advice you must have gotten from theoretical framework. Let me give you an example of Nigerian educational system as it is in my channel. Theoretical framework could be something like in Nigerian educational system, we have primary school 6 years, right? Secondary school 6 years, right? And then university 4 years at least, generally speaking.
Yes.
Then you can now, it depends on department. Then that is a theoretical framework. Then conceptual framework, because you are looking at that theoretical framework to say, in the primary school, after studying, we're still wasting time, no job. Secondary school, nothing. University, nothing. So you now start to, having looked at that theory, I'm using as an example of theoretical work. Having looked at it, you say, no. Your own is that you want to start the primary school 7 years, secondary school 7 years, university 8 years. That's conceptual framework. You are still retaining some of the things from theory, but in your own way, in order to sell the idea that you are talking about. I don't know if you get it.
Yeah, which means theoretical framework is already existing theory that you look at. The conceptual is your own personal idea about that person's theory,
Including the theory also.
including the theory. Also.
You are looking at his theory because the paper is anchored on that theory. That is a literature review now. You are using it because an academic something. You are not just coming from nowhere. Having affirmed that particular one, then you kickstart your own. From looking at that one, now you make your own. Just like your own input. So, look at it here, theoretical framework. It provides a general or broader set of ideas within which a study belongs. I'm talking about the educational system. And almost all over the world, education system, primary school is 6 years, 6 years secondary. It is based on existing theory or theories in the literature which has been tested validated by other scholars. You see, because I'm just using the educational system as an example. Because most people believe in primary school, 5 years or 6 years, and then secondary school, 5 years or 6 years. And then university. Some people, they combine secondary school and university or vocational school. You have to look at what has been given already. Then now, because your paper is trying to solve a problem, and that problem is trying to solve is what you are now showcased with a conceptual framework. Just like what you have solved in the paper is giving us conceptual framework. Theoretical framework, someone's own. Conceptual own work, my own.
Your own work.
But you have to be careful on how to use it so that it will not mean a different thing altogether. But then look at it. Theoretical framework provides a general or broader set of ideas within which a study belongs. Then, what do you mean belong here? Within the literature review you have read and you are following. Then, it is based on existing theories in the literature which has been tested and validated by other scholars.
Wow.
Now, it is well developed, designed, and accepted. It offers a focal point for approaching the unknown research in a specific field of inquiry. Look at what it says, well developed, well designed, because you are looking at it. That is your literature review. That is from literature review, you brought out a theoretical framework and followed it. And that's what you are looking. Okay? It consists of theory that seem interrelated with the development propositions deduced. It is used to test theories, to predict and control the situation within the context of a research inquiry, because people have used it, and that is why we are now using it as a literature review. So it is already there, theoretical framework. Then conceptual framework, let's see what it is. That one I say it is yours. It refers to specific or narrower ideas a conceptual researcher utilizes in his or her study. It is based on the concept are the main variable in the study. Imagine that this is the conceptual framework. You are now explaining to us why primary school should be 7 years, why secondary school should be 7 years, why university should be 8 years, instead of what it used to be, which I consider to be theoretical framework. But now you now have your own concept. If somebody sees it, reads it, you understand where you're heading to and the contribution you are making. Are you guys getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Conceptual form, it is the researcher's own constructed model. You see that? Researcher's own constructed model that he or she uses to explain the relationship that exists between the main variable in his or her studies. You get that?
Yes, sir.
Your own. Theory is their own, which you looked at. Now form your own, which you now put across as the solution to the problem you're looking for. It can also be an adaptation of a model in an existing theory, which a researcher adapts to suit his own research purpose. What does it mean now? You might even maintain the same primary school 6 years, secondary school 6 years, university 4 years, but you changed everything inside it. You put something else so that people will graduate and get jobs. People will be employable, self-employed, even while in secondary school. You are maintaining the same 6 years, 664, but you are no longer using certain things there. You have added your own. You have inserted something else. I don't know if you guys are getting that.
Yes, sir. Very well.
Yeah, that is the conceptual framework. Its design is not accepted, but is a proposal of the researcher's answer to the research problem he or she has defined. You get that?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure you are getting it?
Yes.
It's not yet accepted. It's a hypothesis. It is a framework that works logically how the researcher inquiry is to be undertaken. You see that? If you follow this, what he said, design is not accepted. It's not yet accepted. It's still within what you are trying to tell us, what you are trying to give us. but it's a proposal of a researcher's answer to the research question. That's your topic, what you are trying to give us, because you have to tell us how, what you think. That thing you passionately want to tell us, how is it going to be accepted and then replace what has been there? Because there's been a government and there's been a protest. There's been a diplomacy. How come you're now bringing a new diplomacy? Tell us, show us your concept that once employed, once applied, then the problem will be solved. The same thing is applicable to you. We have a governor. We have policemen. We have soldiers. Come on. How come you think it's only when we get involved with the traditional rulers, then the security will be solved in the southeast? You see, that is a conceptual framework. It consists of concepts interconnected to explain the relationship between them and how the researcher is set to answer the research problem defined. It's aimed at encouraging the development of a theory that will be useful to practitioners in the field. You see, I said it. Hello?
Hi.
So I think that is, now tell me what you understand by having said this.
Yeah, Evans is said that the theoretical framework is already an existing theory that you're looking at to now analyze your own personal theory.
Wonderful. So, Henry.
So theoretical framework, the already existing theories on a particular research work, why conceptual conceptual framework is your own theory which you are trying to bring out in your research, but which will also include the theoretical framework from other research papers, including your own, then to publish your own research work.
Wow. I'm very happy that you guys just grasped it. So let me round up. I thought this stuff, I was thinking that I'm done. So we end today's class finally with a proposal. The reason being that when you now do your own presentation, then because I want to finish my own presentation today. So, Sheikha, come back. Sheikha must come back. So, how to write a research proposal? Because research proposal is the final exam in this course. But you can also even submit it ahead of time. And then we have to present it also here. So, how to write a research proposal? General and interesting enough to attract attention, precise enough to indicate the problem. Research proposal. Do you know what a research proposal?
Yes. Research proposal is a little bit of what you intend to do about their research. Yeah, which have to give an insight of what you want to do and how you want to go about it to get to a conclusion.
Okay. Okay, that is wonderful. No need to wait. You got it. Introduction, a description of the background of the problem that facilitates the understanding of the problem. You see? Then research problem derived from the topic. These are what will be contained in the research problem. Derived from the topic, the problem is a gap between the desired situation and an actual situation. Justification, an example, explanation why this study should be done in terms of criticality of the problem. You see? Then objective should also be part of the research proposal. Objective need to be ultimately achieved by carrying out the research project. Then significant, describe the benefits of the research to various parties, company, industry, and students. You must tell us why. The scope should also, everything we just said today will contain in the research proposal. Literature review. You must tell us the purpose of this is to determine whether the area selected is earlier researched and how the concept involved have been treated theoretically over the time. In the research, in the literature, what do you call it, proposal, research question, you see that? It contains research question, conceptualization, methodology you are using, then the source of your information and reference. And then, remember I just said research problem is the final paper to be submitted. So it's good that we are aware of that on time and start now to prepare for it. Then in some cases, in order to make it a little bit clearer, be prepared What is a research proposal? A document with two major objectives: to analyze, synthesize the existing research about a particular topic, describe the researcher's idea for a new study. That you're just telling the department, see what you want to do. An art which the researcher want to sell in the market. That is a research proposal. What do you want to sell? Remember, we have business proposal, right? Then the buyer, you have to, when you plan your business, you have to convince, you have to remember where you situate the business, what happens, and what should be done there. Buyer needs to take it from the gallery, suit the buyer's pocket. So you have to prove to the department why you want to do this research. Therefore, be prepared to make mistakes and learn, to write and rewrite many times. Be prepared to spend many hours looking for information, to have your writing criticized, to feel confused and hopeless sometimes. Writing process, remember in the research proposal, planning, defining a topic and selecting a literature. Very difficult, but you can do that. Organizing, analyzing, synthesizing, reviewing articles, drafting, writing a first draft of the review, editing, checking draft for completeness, correctness, and redrafting. These are things we face. Writing of a research background is part of research proposal. Reader persuasive document that engages your readers with broader themes and topics that illustrate your concept, questions and theories, and demonstrate your knowledge and passion. Writing of a research background is part of the research proposal. So the background should engage your readers with broader topics. Explain prevailing environment surrounding the problem. What you have to show in your proposal. The background should illustrate your concept, questions, and theories. The background section must be precise and measured. These are the things. Remember, we made this thing before. Problem statement. Research proposal will state the problem. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Start with a general statement of problem or issues. Make sure that the problem is restricted to scope. Make sure that the context of the problem is clear. Cite the references from which the problem was stated previously. Provide justification for the research to be conducted. Show your motivation to conduct the proposed research. Highlight the problems, the merits of the available techniques. Functions of review. Of course, here you are talking about review. You have to make sure that you have enough books and journals. Writings of literature review. Of course, literature review should have an introduction, body, and conclusion, and they will all be contained most of the time in your proposal. You have to tell us the books. In the research proposal, I have to tell the books that you are looking at in conducting the research. Let me not waste time there. guideline for analyzing literature. You have to tell us, analyze chosen article before you start writing. You have to make sure that you have enough books and you have what it takes to get into it. Hello, Henry, are you still with us? And then, draft is very important. Follow the format of the university. Avoid plagiarism. In your proposal, you should be able to tell us all this. Tips for successful proposal: make it simple, read your work loud, revise, 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 put an end to it. Do not get involved in complicated things when you want to provide a proposal. That is why all of you you have already finished your proposal. You have a topic already. And I'm sure you have the questions, what do you call it? Research questions and objective. The same thing applicable to you. Proposal is finished. Just to put it in right and submit to the department. You get that? Why proposals are unsuccessful? When you don't have the problem, when you don't have the objective, when you don't even know where to start. Hello?
Hi.
Do you have any question for me?
No, sir.
I hope our stuff is still on.
Yes.
So, do you have anything again? Okay, so thank you very much as we round up today. So I expect to see you again next week. And then that next week, we will see other students and then know what next to do and how to do your presentations. We'll communicate to know whether we continue with online. I mean, telling you the topics. You have chosen your topics, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. See you again next week.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Bye, sir.